What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at again with another Just Chillin' podcast call-in show. We had no need for a pain stream yesterday because the Giants came away with a win, came away with a W. Celebration stream, I guess you could say. Either way, I was kind of busy last night, so that's why there was no stream. However, you already know every Tuesday night it's the call-in show. Might as well mash them together. This time, do a little celebration stream slash call-in stream. You know what I'm saying? Why not get you guys on here, get your thoughts out, all that. If you remember, the link has been posted in member community notes for a while now. And then, of course, if there's anybody else here that wants to call in, I will post the link in the chat for anybody and everybody to call in and just give the thoughts on the New York Giants. First of all, shout out to everybody in here right now. Sunday, what up, Sunday? How you doing? Marjorie Simmons, Yuvraj, Jaden the Champ, Ligma Luan, Marco Polo, Benny, Joseph as well in here. Glad to see all of you guys, and let me do it right now. Call in link. And there it is. Go ahead, click it. Come on in. In terms for me, we got a bye week, which I am kind of glad for. You know, I'm saying a break on Sundays, or we've had a Monday game, we've had a Sunday night game as well, a late Sunday night game. But either way, a break from football for a week. No need to stress about the Giants, whether they win or lose. No need to really devote that much time to them this week. Who am I kidding? Of course I will, because that's just the Giants fan that we all are. Michael B, CJ in here as well. But it's a good thing because when's the last time we entered a bye week off of a win? If we did last year, man, I don't think we did last year, but I can't remember the last time we entered a bye week with a win. And certainly, this is our best record in the past 4 years entering the bye week. Entering it 3-6. In fact, it's the best record over our first 9 games of a season in the past 4 years, which is insane much. In 2017, I think we were 1-8. In both 2018, actually, I think in 2018, 2019, and 2020, all of them, I think we were like 2-7. I'm pretty sure. Like, this is the best one. 3-6. Yeah, is the best one we've entered the bye week with. And yeah, Joseph, I will pin the link for anybody that wants to call in. Miz, what's up, man? In here right now. Definitely hit that link and come on in. Benny says, I can't come on now, but I'll try to come on around 10:30. That's fine. That's what's up. So we're entering with high hopes, with high spirits. Hopefully things will go right. That's all I can say. As I said in my video yesterday, which is titled "The New York Giants are 3-6. Can they make a playoff run?" And it seems like almost every year, somehow, some way, the Giants are still technically in a playoff hunt because that's just how bad the NFC is. Usually, that's how bad the NFC East is, but this time it's just the NFC in general. The 4-4 Falcons are the team that holds that 7th wildcard spot right now. So we'll see how it all plays out, and we do have a chance. I broke it down in that vid where I said the second half of our schedule, if we look at the teams that we're facing, is easier than the first half. In the first half, out of 9 of the teams that we faced, 7 of those teams were 500 or better as of week 9. And in the second half, only 3 of the 8 teams that we faced are 500 or better. And those 3 teams being the Cowboys, the Chargers, and the Buccaneers. And Cowboys or Chargers, I think, are very beatable. And if this defense continues to play like it has the past 3 weeks, I think Tampa Bay is going to be a very close game, much like it was last year when we faced Tampa Bay. So we'll see. Shout out to Josh Kalan and Nate in here as well. Luan said, Kush, this next season with this roster and the draft, we will start on a win streak. Man, do I want to start on a win streak. Since 2016, we haven't started on a win streak, and even then, it was only 2 games, so I'm not sure if you could call it a streak, because then we dropped, I think it was week 3 to the Saints, I think, in 2016 was what we dropped. Either way, I can't remember the last time we started on a win streak, man. I would love for that to happen. We start off like the Knicks, start off 5-1, 5-2. I would not mind. That would be amazing. But yeah, no, there's a chance. That was what that whole video was. Definitely go check it out. There's a chance for us to do this. For me, I just gotta see us win a little bit more before I completely hop on, but I'm not denying that there's a chance. That's why, of course, I did that entire thing. But that Raiders game was really something else, man. That Raiders game, it really seemed so similar to the Chiefs game. Looking back on it right now and while watching it. While watching it, I was like, this is going exactly the way the Chiefs game went. Our defense was holding us in the game. The offense was kind of a crutch. The offense wasn't doing as much as it probably should have been able to. And yes, 100%, there is a legitimate reason in injuries as to why our offense is performing as bad as it is. But on the flip side, on that same coin, there's also the fact that the offense they had multiple opportunities to score more. The offense was in the red zone, or the offense was like on the 30-yard line. The offense was like on the 26-yard line or something, where it's not officially the red zone, and we had chances to score, or where it's dumb mistakes is the reason we didn't score more points. As much injured as the offense is, we were still in position to get more. And so that's why while watching the game, I was like, oh man, this is going to go just like the Raiders game, man. We're going to hold it close. We're going to battle. And somehow, some way, somebody on our team is going to do something stupid and we lose it. But they didn't. They did not. Does anybody have the penalty numbers for Giants this game? I know we still had more than we would like, but I feel like it was less than, when you compare it to a game like the Chiefs, where we beat ourselves. You compare it to a game like Washington week 2, where we beat ourselves. Shout out to Edward in here as well. Does anybody have those numbers? I can try and pull them up. I'm not sure what website would have it. Yovrad says, what do you realistically think our record will end up, and will it be enough for the playoffs? And looking at the NFC standings, we have a good chance. 4 total penalties. That's really good. For how many yards? If it was 4 total penalties, that's got to be one of our lowest in the year, if not the lowest we've had on the year, right? Like, come on, that has to be one of the lowest. 4 total penalties. Shout out to Giants Being Sports in here as well. So in terms of what I think we'll end up being, Raj, I have no idea. I have no idea what in the world we could end up with, what in the world record we could end the season out on. Ain't no way for me to predict that. In order for us to make a wild card, though, I'm gonna be honest with you, we gonna need like 9 wins. And for us to get 9 wins, that means there's only one more loss on our schedule. That means that we go 6. No, not 6. Is it 6? 6-1? Hold up. Because 9 and 7. No, it's 9 and 8 now. Oh, wait. That means we have 2 more losses. Yeah, 2 more losses. I was thinking it's a 16-game season for a second. That means we would have 2 more losses on our schedule, which, you know what? Maybe it can happen. Maybe it can't. But I think 9 wins is going to be what probably takes us team into playoffs. We'll see if we could get there. And people are confirming, 4 in the first half. And that was 4 for the entire game, totaling out at 35 yards. I like that a lot. Because that right there, man, that right there is one of the major reasons we did not lose the game. When I was saying it was looking so much like Kansas City Chiefs, but we didn't beat ourselves. All of our penalties were in the first half. That means they cleaned it up at halftime. Whatever the coaches told the players, or whatever the players had within themselves, they did not make any stupid mistakes like we've seen, like O'Shane Ximines and offsides, Dexter Lawrence and offsides, or a holding call or something like that, which the offensive line has been doing a lot. False starts. Oh my God. Do you guys remember that Keon Crossing play during the game? That was the Raiders game, right? I'm pretty sure that was a couple days ago where he laid out the Raiders punter. And thank God that was in the first half. That seemed like a stupid play to me. He just ran in, like the Raiders punter slowing down. He just ran into him. I'm surprised he didn't get thrown or whatever because of how soft the NFL is now. But regardless, it was a stupid thing. And I'm like, we're going down this rabbit hole of beating ourselves again in a really close game. But they cleaned it up. Man, did they clean it up. And I'm glad for that, because if they continued that trend, which is what happened in the 2 shoulda, woulda, coulda games of Washington and the Chiefs, the Raiders also end up as a loss. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that. Shout out to the the heavyweight champion of the world. What is that profile picture? I can't tell what that is. Is that The Rock? Is that Ric Flair? I can't tell, man. Mark Primes, I'm in here, a Cowboys fan. What up, man? He says, congrats. Meanwhile, we got a humble loss. Was something wrong with Dak? Was Dak injured? I didn't get to watch the game, but I was looking at the score. I'm like, how did the Cowboys have 0 points at one point, man? That was ridiculous. And the second half defense in the last 3 games rocks. The entire defense, first half, second half, our defense has held the Raiders to 16 points. Kansas City what did Kansas City end up scoring? I think I saw AJ in here as well. Let me just pull up the Giants' last 3 games. Kansas City scored 20, but one of that was off of a basically a DJ pick, right? So take away 7, right? I would take away 7. They held the Chiefs to basically 13, the Raiders to 16, the Panthers to 3. And if you really want to be, hard on it, then sure, they held the Raiders to 20. Either way, that's a total of 3 plus 20, 23 plus 23, 46 points in the past 3 games. When to open up the season, we were one of the worst teams when it came to scoring defense. It was ridiculous. That is very impressive. This defense, which once again, man, that pass rush is finally there. They're finally getting to QBs. You don't always see it in sacks, but they are finally getting pressure. They're getting QB hits. They're getting hurries. They're making the quarterbacks uncomfortable. And shout out to Roche and Ojulari because the staff finally realizes those are the guys we need to put in front. But everything just falls into place when you get into the quarterback, man. Bradbury and Adoree have looked really, really good in these past 3 weeks as well. Like, obviously, the entire defense has looked good, but we're seeing players perform up to their expectations and, more importantly, their contracts, so it doesn't turn out to be a waste of money. We're seeing these players perform the way we expected them to, and now it feels like we're back in the 2020 season, except we're at a point right now where it's very realistic that something incredible can happen. We'll see. Keep your fingers crossed. We'll see. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to Nate Talk Sports in here as well. Sunday. I mean, Michael says Sunday. I see you on Gray Stream, right? Playing Call of Duty. Oh, okay. My bad. I thought that was a Giants question. Liking Roche a lot. And I'm really starting to believe now that when we went down to Miami, they definitely had their eyes on Quincy Roche. If you guys remember, very early on in the draft process, the Giants did have guys down there. People were saying, are they there for that Miami tight end? I think his name was Brevin Jordan. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are they down there for, the 2 bigger edge rushers that everybody was talking about in Greg Rousseau and why am I forgetting the other kid's name? Jalen Phillips. My God. Which, by the way, how are they doing? I know Greg Rousseau had a great preseason. I haven't heard much of him in the regular season. I haven't heard much of Jalen Phillips at all. I know that our rookie in Azeez Ojulari leads all rookies in sacks with 5.5, by the way, for anybody wondering. So if you're going to go by production, we got technically the best pass rusher out of the class as of right now. And then Quincy Roche is a great secondary tandem to him. Let me actually pull up, how is Gregory Rousseau? Is he healthy? Is he playing? How is he doing right now? And then same thing with Jalen Phillips. If I go over to Greg Rousseau's stats, yes, he did get taken by the Bills on the season. He has, like 3 sacks. And for some reason, NFL.com is not showing me pressures. That's weird. You'd think that the NFL official website would show you some pressures. Is Greg Rousseau starting? That's a question that should be asked as well. And then you go and you look at Jalen Phillips with the Dolphins. That's hilarious. He stayed in Miami. Didn't really realize that. He has half a sack on the season. And he was the 18th overall pick. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that he's starting. And I know Miami's doing absolutely terrible right now. And then we go and we look at Quincy Roche. All right. I think Quincy Roche has, he has 1 sack on the season officially. All right. But guess what? It was a sack strip fumble at the, I feel like he has more than 1 sack, man. This don't feel right. I feel like Quincy Roche has more than 1 sack, or maybe that's just because of how, good he's been. Maybe that's just because of how good he's been for us in these couple of games that we've seen him, that it makes me feel like he has more than 1 sack. But you know what I'm saying? You know what? I'm fine with that. He got a forced fumble. The other 2 do not have a forced fumble. And I know Pittsburgh is probably kicking themselves in the shin right now for letting this guy go in the first place, man. You can never have too many good edge rushers, and he would have been either a great complimentary piece to TJ Watt or a great rotationary piece to whatever their rotation at edge rusher is. Let's see here. Hey, shout out to Big Movement Ross. Tell me Pro Football Reference has pressures. All right, let me do that then. Let me go Gregory Rousseau, Pro Football Reference. I am not seeing it yet. Hey, yo. There it is. Okay, he has 13 pressures on the season with 3 sacks. 3 sacks, 13 pressures. Greg Rousseau doing his thing, technically. Not as good as Aziz Ojulari, you know. You know what? In fact, let me pull up Aziz Ojulari PFR real quick. You know what I'm saying? You saw how I did that? I looked at y'all while it's hyping, you know. So that took about 20 years for me to do. Anyway, if we go over to Aziz's, he has 13 pressures with 5.5 sacks. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then we look at Jalen Phillips, Pro Football Reference. And under pressures, 9 pressures, 2 sacks, respectable. Very respectable Jalen Phillips for a number 18 overall pick. Quincy Roche, I feel like, would be more impressive considering he was like the 219th overall pick. I'm pretty sure he was a 219th overall pick. What is it? It's not telling me. 216th. I was off by 3. He has 5 pressures and a sack. Listen, listen. He won a game. None of these other dudes won a game before by themselves, sealing the game. I don't think I've seen that. I'm just saying. Let me look what the chat is saying real quick. Giants Opinion Sports says Phillips had like 3 sacks last game. What's going on here? Let me check that. I don't know. It should not take them that long to update it. If you're talking about against Houston, it says he has 1 quarterback hit, that he had 2 tackles and half a sack. That's what the numbers is telling me, my guy. That's what the numbers is telling me. Michael B says, absolute beast mode. Oh, no, he's talking about Claude once again. Josh Kalan says, I don't think he's been good. I just think that we think he's doing good because of our other edges have done nothing. That may be a little bit of it, but like it's not like we're seeing phantom pressures being generated by him. He is doing better than our edge rushes, yes. And it is probably giving us a little bit of blue shade, what I like to call the blue blinders on with him. But he did have a game-sealing sack strip fumble, and before that, we were seeing good things out of him. You know, I don't know if we're gonna be, if you could say we're stretching it that much, right? Sober Party, what's up, man? He's in here. Giants Opinion Sports says Aziz has a high sack total compared to his pressures. Those numbers could be a bit misleading. That is true. When comparing him to the other rookies, though, he is still at the top with pressures. I think it's him and Greg, both of them with 13 pressures, right? Sober Party says, how about Robbins? Can you give me the full name of Robbins? Yuvraj says, let's say we make the playoffs. We would have to go 7-2, which means we are hot. If we carry it to the playoffs, Yuvraj, you're going way too far, my guy. I saw the word Super Bowl. We're not big steppers yet, all right? We're very small steppers. The Giants ain't big steppers yet for us to be talking Super Bowl. I'm going to say that. Shout out to Justin Pennick in here. I appreciate it, man. If you're free, definitely hit that link that is pinned and call in. That anybody could call in. Shout out to everybody in here right now. We got about 30 people. What's up? Justin letting me know with the stats here. He says Quincy Roche and O'Shane Zimenez stat comparison. Last 2 games, 100 snaps, 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits, 5 pressures. And then Zimenez, 182 on the season, 0 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, 4 pressures. So, yeah, once again, to the, I think it was, who said that? Josh, who was saying that maybe we're kind of overhyping them a little bit. These numbers don't lie. These numbers don't lie. In my opinion, Quincy Roche has been better for us in about 3 or 4 games than O'Shane Zimenez has been his entire life. That's all I'm going to say, man. That's all I'm going to say. And we got somebody in here, not going to lie, kind of finally. I'm like, why nobody calling in tonight, man? Nobody out here calling in tonight. But shout out to Benny for being the first caller, man. What's up, Benny? How you doing, bro?
Hey, how's it
Oh,
going?
hello. Is that me?
What?
Hello. Speak again. I think it might have been me. I was saying your
Hello?
volume low. Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, okay, so is my volume low or is it good?
No, it's good. It's good. You're good. Chat, you guys
Alright.
fine, right?
But yeah, I was really happy with the game the other day, man. Um it was a nice win. It definitely felt nice with that win. I thought the defense has really stepped it up the past couple of weeks, man. Cuz like
Mm-hmm.
the thing is like
Past 3, honestly, man, I know the Rams game, like the total 38-11. Hear me out. I'd say second half of Rams game to now, I've really seen a change.
Yeah, I've really seen a change. I'm really impressed with Patrick Graham. He's been like, he's just been really good. Like Patrick Graham, I was worried with him at the beginning of the year because he was like struggling and all with his game plans and all. But like now Patrick Graham has really stepped it up and he he's gotten this team going. The linebackers have actually been okay even without Blake Martinez. The secondary has been way better. And the big thing though is the edge rushers, man. And I don't even know if we did this on purpose. I think it's more that injuries happen to kind of show it, but they honestly I don't wish injury on anybody, but the two guys we have right now playing are way better than our original starters. We had Lorenzo Carter and Oshane Ximines starting, and they did nothing, man. They just couldn't get pressure if their lives depended on it. And now we have Audra Laurie and Quincy Roche. And
Hmm.
those are two rookies and they're way outperforming. So I'm really impressed with those two. I don't know if those two are the future. I know Audra Laurie is. I don't know about Quincy Roche just yet. He's been really good. But if he's like really gonna be able to keep it stable as a starting edge rusher, but those two have been really good
I
and
mean,
I've
yeah,
been
as of right now, they're our two best options.
yeah, I like it. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I was a big fan of Roche though coming out of the draft. Once again, I still don't know if he'll ever like actually be a starting edge rusher in the NFL. He'll always be good depth in my opinion. He can definitely become a very good like third edge
Hmm.
rusher for your team.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just think I'm just so happy that those two came in and really worked hard. Because I feel like those two really deserve the playing time they're getting, and I hope Elo Lorenzo and Zimenez come back. That those two still maybe they won't get the full time, but like they recently, but they should still get a lot of time in my opinion. And I'm hoping that Patrick Graham and Joe Judge and all that they make sure that happens. As for the offense, I really am just I'm hoping that with Saquon back, and I'm just like really hoping that once we get to the second half of the season, we kind of get healthy again and we really see this offense's potential. You know, I think Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay have been injured, and we, uh, you got Saquon injured, but Kenny
Ooh, I
Galladay,
know you're speaking of injuries, but this comment I just highlighted, I want to ask you. I'm a big Blake Martinez fan, but this is a Giants P in Sports with a hard hitting question. He says, if we keep playing good defense without him, does that make him expendable?
uh, I like Blake Martinez a lot.
Hmm.
I still would prefer not to, but at the end of the day, if there's a
What up,
player
Ash?
that we see, I don't want to trade unless we're like if we're rebuilding, then I would trade Blake Martinez for picks. Yeah, if we're contender though, like if we're doing really good and we think that we see a player out there that's actually like we think that could really help our team, that's really gonna fix a big hole in our team, then maybe we do trade Blake Martinez if there's interest for it. But
Real quick,
I
of
like Blake
course.
Martinez.
Shout out to Fisk Vegas in here. Thank you for calling in, my bro. You guys definitely need to go check him out if you already haven't. Yeah, man, Fisk, you could either jump in with what Benny's saying or listen in and wait for whatever, bro. What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh no, I'm good, man. I'm just getting ready to I'm getting ready to eat my dinner and I was like, he sent me an invite, let me pull up, say a couple of three things.
A
You know what
couple
I'm
of three
saying?
things.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's that Philly Tardo right there if y'all ain't catch that.
Yeah, Benny, I'm sorry to cut you off like this, but real quick, man.
Yeah,
I was in Fisk's stream, I think it was yesterday, and I had to leave for class, right? While
yeah.
I left, something about world domination was going on, all right? I want to know what happened at the end of that after I left, because I had to go to class.
Okay, so long story short, somebody is super chatted me something about that somebody super chatted me something and got me talking about world domination. And as y'all know, I'm a history. I went to college for history, writing classes. History is what I went to college for. So I'm a history nut, and my whole thing is like, I would love to take over the world. I would, I do. But the thing is, you know, oh, that's what it was. Yeah, okay. So somebody super chatted me from Ireland. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Oh wow.
said, yo, I got a Fisk unit soldier in Ireland. Like the Fisk unit is global, right? And then somebody else super chatted me from Russia. And I said, look, I got a soldier in Russia. And my whole point was, if I had 1 million subscribers, that's 1 million soldiers. If I arm them, I can go take over a small country. And then what
FBI,
happened?
I'm not with this man, bro.
So
unless
what ended
unless
up
he puts me
happening,
in charge of Asia, but I'm not with this man.
you can get your bid for Asia. We talk about it. So what
Alright.
happened was, I started, you know me, I went on a tangent, and I'm like, listen, you gotta understand, if I got 1 million subscribers, some of them gonna be rich, somebody gonna be in a powerful place. We can start this army. And my thing is, if I was president, somebody said Big Fist 2024. And I was like, okay, if I was president of the United States, the first thing I would do is take over Canada and Mexico, because they should be part of America anyway. I don't know why we never conquered them a couple hundred years ago. They should have been part of America. Anything North America should be United States of America. So I'm going to conquer Mexico. I'm going to conquer Canada. I'm going to conquer Cuba. Everything on this side of the globe is mine. Okay? Then I'm going to take out Asia. Okay? I'm going to launch my attack on Asia if they don't bend the knee. Everybody has an opportunity to bend the knee. I'm going to Zoom call you the button. If you don't acquiesce to my demands, I'm going to press said button and I'm going to wipe you off the map. That's as simple as that. So once I take out Asia, okay, I'm going to own all of Asia. I'm talking Korea, Japan, China, all that shit is mine. Okay? After that, I'm going to head on into Russia. Okay? We're going to take out Russia sometime in the springtime. See, Hitler messed up.
We're not
Hitler
doing this,
tried to
bro.
do it in the wintertime. Hitler tried to beat Russia in the winter. You're not going to beat Russia in the winter. I'm going to take them on in the spring. So I got from like March all the way until like October to take the fuckers out. So we're going to get rid of Russia. All right? And then after we get rid of Russia, I mean, shit, Germany, England, they'll fall in the fucking line. You ain't going to have no choice. My army going to be too big. Or I could say Russia for last, because my whole thing is this. Europe is allies with us anyway. So Europe should just bend the knee on general principle and get down with the get along. So if I have Europe and I have Asia, then I can just, I don't know, I'll just press a button on Russia, get them out the way. I don't even got to take them. I'll just press a button. We'll clean it up later. It's my planet anyway. So after I run the world, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to break every country into Fisk unit sectors. Every country is going to have a name, you know what I'm saying? A number attached to it. So once I'm done taking over the Earth, then we're going to head on over to Mars. Because I already own the moon, because we got all the satellites out there. So all them satellites is mine after I take over Earth anyway. So we already own.
While all this is happening, no assassination attempts.
Oh, they know better. I'm Big Fisk. So it's going to be, we're going to call Earth, we're going to call that Fisk Unit Crystal. And then we're going to go over to Mars, and we're going to take that over too. I'm going to go ahead, tell Elon Musk and Bill Gates, all the billionaires, they can have the planet. They populate it, they build it up, they can run it. Just know you bend the knee to me on my demands, but you run it. You be in charge of that. Just know you bend the knee to me. So we're going to own Mars. We're going to own the moon. We're going to own Earth. And if there's alien congregations out there that want to smoke, I will Zoom call them the button as well. Okay? Whoever got a problem, going to get a Zoom call of the button. If you don't listen to me, that button will get pressed. It's going to be the last thing you see is me pressing the button. About 10 seconds later, you just going to cease to exist.
Shout out to Cheyenne for the $5 super chat. I think that says Canada, Russia, and Ireland. I appreciate that. Well, next time I hop on Fist Channel, we're gonna talk about this world domination thing.
I thought about this for like 10 years. I'm definitely taking over Mexico.
You should write a book.
Canada first.
Write a book. You gotta write a book. Get the manifesto out there to the people.
Hey, y'all think I'm bullshit. Hitler almost did this shit. I'm smarter than Hitler. Hitler was drugged up on cocaine and Adderall.
Nah, we're not doing this, Fist. Let's get back to the Giants,
Hitler was literally high.
Let's get back to the Giants,
and Adderall.
We get it back to the Giants, bro.
I'm telling you, if Hitler can do it, I can do it. I know for a fact I'm smarter than Hitler. He almost pulled this shit off. I know I'm smarter than him.
Like half the people on the planet are, if we're gonna consider this.
What you said?
I said like half the people on the planet are. We're just gonna go by knowledge right now. Oh, it's Iran. Okay, thank you, Cheyenne. My bad. I
No,
don't know
they
why that
get
was
clipped.
Ireland.
If you disagree with me, you get clapped. It's as simple as that. This ain't no damn democracy. You don't got no freedom of choice. No, you fall in line and you get lined up.
You know, I'm be honest, I would have expected a dictatorship. But back to the original question, real quick. Benny, your answer was yes or no to Blake being expendable if the defense continues to perform
I
really well.
think in certain cases, but not right now. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to trade him right now. But in certain cases in the future,
Yeah, Fizz,
maybe.
where are you with Blake right now? And then if
Which
this
one?
defense continues,
What you talking
like,
about?
what happened?
I said I ain't. What you talking? What you mean?
So Blake Martinez, right? There was a
Okay.
question in the chat that says if the defense continues to perform like this, like really good, does he become expendable for the Giants?
No, absolutely not. If anything, he becomes a cheaper contract
Mm-hmm.
because
We already how many times have we? I think we worked this contract like once or twice already, right?
yeah. Well, the thing is with the Giants, everybody except for Kenny Galladay's on a 3-year deal. So you know, Logan Ryan 3 years, Leo 3 years, Bradbury 3 years, Blake is on a 3-year. Everybody's on 3-year deal except
Mm-hmm.
for Kenny Galladay. We gave him 4. But so basically, what I'm trying to say is Bradbury's going to want to get paid this all season, and so is Blake Martinez, which basically means that we just give him a cheaper contract because he's hurt. That's all. Because he can't ask for like a max deal because he's hurt. Nobody's going to give him a bag. So if the Giants give him like another 3-year deal, he's going to take it. Nobody else is going to give him that coming off a torn ACL. So if anything, that's a blessing in disguise for the Giants that we get to keep Blake for cheap. Sure.
I'm with you right there. And Benny, how do you feel about where Blake's contract is right now? Do you think it is necessary that we go and we restructure it, or do we let it play out its course? Where are you with that contract, Benny?
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, we're gonna have I think we're supposed to have some contract problems next year. I don't know. People are saying that we backloaded a lot of stuff, so it could bite us there. I mean, I would mind also extending out his contract though. I wouldn't mind doing it, but I don't think it's the end of the world if we do have to play out his contract.
If I go on overthecap.com right now, he's the 14th highest paid middle linebacker in the league. Right now, he's making in 2021 like around $6.7 million, and then next year he's making 14. So that's where we backloaded everything when we were restructuring contracts to try and get Galladay here, try and get a Dory here. Maybe he accepts another restructure because he is coming from off the ACL, and the Giants could easily say something like, "Listen, we're not sure if we want to give you 14 million on your return year or something like that." But I could definitely see us doing like a restructure / extension type thing where it's like we spread that 14 mil maybe over 2 years and then add on another year, and it's a quote unquote extension. I could see that happening for sure. Calvin's. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Real quick before I explain how we're gonna do all this. Ayo, Josh Cohen. I was 1,000% behind Thanos. You wipe out half the population, and the other population does nothing but prosper. I was totally behind Thanos in Avengers. So yeah, of course, if I ran Earth, I wouldn't wipe out half the population, maybe a third of it, but not the whole thing. But anyway, to the contract.
I had to scroll up to see where he said that.
He said I'm gonna summon Thanos, but nah. So here's the deal, right? The Saints were negative 90-something million in cap last year, and they figured it out by cutting some players, but most importantly, restructuring a lot of deals and extending players. See, what people don't understand about the cap is when you extend a player and give them a new contract, they count less against the cap. So what I'm trying to say is the Saints ended up paying their right tackle, paying their safeties. They ended up extending players who were currently on their team to lower their cap hit for that upcoming season. So realistically speaking, the Giants can basically give Bradbury and Blake Martinez brand new contract extensions and free up cap space. We pay them we free up cap by actually paying people. A lot of people don't know that, but that's how a lot of teams do it. They extend players and they make sure that first year is like a featherweight cap hit. You know what I'm saying? And then of course, We're not bringing back Evan Ingram.
Or Jabril. I don't think we're bringing back Jabril.
Maybe Jabril.
Maybe Jabril. I don't know.
I don't.
I really think we could survive with Julian Love and Xavier.
Yeah, same. I think Jabril. If we don't have much money, we don't have to get Jabril back. I mean, I think he should be like a luxury for us. Like, if we have the money to get him, maybe we get him back. But like, I'm not overpaying for Jabril. So if he's asking for too much.
I agree. I think Shepard is gone.
Yeah.
Saquon to get franchised. No, we'll put him on a 5th-year option. Saquon will play on his 5th-year option. And
what's going on with Daniel Jones' contract, by the way? How many years left does he have?
We're going to pay him next year. We'll probably pay him. Because we're in such cap hell, we won't give him the contract next year. But at the end of the season, he'll get 45 to 50.
You don't think we're giving him that 5th-year thing first?
Hell no.
You think we're extending him outright? Okay.
Yeah, after his 4th year, he'll be the highest paid quarterback in the league. Daniel Jones will hands down get that $50 million contract. It's not even debatable. It's not even like it's more of a win. Like, he's the best player on our team. By a mile, he's the best player on our team.
You guys know what's going on with the salary cap? Like, remember how last year the salary cap went down or whatever? Like, do you know if it's like back to what it was supposed to be?
No, I think it's supposed
Actually,
to
no,
go
it just
back
didn't
up.
go up enough. It just didn't go up.
Yeah,
like,
it didn't go up enough, like the amount it was supposed to. The NFL has a lot of money that they're not putting into the salary right now, coming in from Amazon deals and media deals and TV deals. So we'll have to see what they do there. They could definitely make it go up.
He's not taking $30 million. Whoever said that in the chat. Bro, he maxed out Eli Manning. Eli Manning was a below 500 quarterback at the time. Like, John Mara will max out Daniel Jones the same way he did Eli Manning for his whole career. He has a history of maxing out his quarterback. It's not even up for debate. Also, what you have to understand with Daniel Jones is, who are we going to get this better? Are we ever going to be like 2-15 or some shit to go get another quarterback? Like, Daniel Jones is like, sometimes I gotta understand, like, it's the same thing with the Browns, right? Y'all think Baker not about to get 45 million? Come on, man, stop. At the end of the day,
it's always the next quarterback up.
Yeah. What's up?
I was like, it's always the next player up at their position.
Shit, not quarterback. Not quarterback. You think the Browns are the Browns? They talk a lot of cap about Baker Mayfield. They're not getting rid of him. You know what I'm saying?
No, what I'm saying is, with contracts, usually the next player up at their position becomes the highest paid player.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So Daniel Jones, yeah, that's what I said. That's why I said Daniel Jones will get 50. Because by the time Lamar does his deal, and by the time Baker does his deal, the Cardinals won't do Kyler Murray until the end of his 4th year either, because they're paying a lot of people. It's the same reason why Daniel Jones is gonna have to wait to the end of his 4th year. It's the same reason why Kyler Murray is gonna have to wait to the end of his 4th year, because the Giants and the Cardinals are paying a lot of people. But I expect Daniel Jones and Kyler to both be around 50 million, because by the time Baker and Lamar are done, like, oh, and by the way, don't forget Aaron Rodgers. Please. He's about to break the bank in Green Bay. He's not leaving Green Bay. They're about to cut him a blank check in Green Bay. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna pay him whatever they can. I don't know what their cap situation's like, but.
And shout out to everybody just tuning in. But yeah, go ahead, Benny. What else you got?
About the game, I'm excited to see our weapons. I'm hoping our weapons will really be healthy against the Bucks, and we can really like kind of show them off. So because like I feel like a lot of people, what we expected, was the offense to definitely be better and to use Kenny Galladay more, to have Kadarius Toney more involved, and obviously Saquon to be there, and playing. So I'm really excited just to see that. I think against Tampa Bay.
Benny, where do you sit right now with Jason Garrett?
I don't really like Jason Garrett that much, to be honest. I just don't know what he offers. I mean, we haven't seen him with a good offensive line, to be fair. And when Dallas did have a good offensive line, they did have like that one good year. I mean, when they were at like third.
I will slightly disagree when Andrew Thomas was healthy for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, that was a good enough
Yeah,
offensive
true.
line to me.
Yeah, they played pretty good then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the biggest guy on Jason Garrett. I'm not like the lowest guy on him, but yeah, I just don't understand. Sometimes I feel like sometimes what annoys me is he coaches just so good games, and then he says a few plays that kind of just annoy me that just are my favorite play calls.
Mhm.
But I think I will say I don't really like Jason Garrett, and I'm kind of hoping he's not gonna be the guy in the future. But I will say I have to admit his coaching has gotten better. I think his game, like I think from like the beginning couple weeks, his game plans have gotten better.
Real
But
quick, just adding in another legend in the Giants community real quick. Shout out to Justin Pennick. If you guys don't know who he is, and he's surprised as now he's putting on his headphones with the background there. Justin Pennick from Talking Giants. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who he is. Also from the Giants History podcast that he runs on his own as well. Definitely go over there, check him out. I'm gonna let you finish your thought, Benny, and then of course we'll get to Justin.
yeah, my thoughts are I think he's gotten better, but I don't know. I'm still not the big. I'm hoping Garrett will be out, but I think the big reason he stayed last year, honestly, I think one thing the Giants' reason is because like Daniel Jones has had so many changes at offensive coordinator, and it's really annoying that he has to change again, most likely. But at the end of the day, I just don't see. I don't see Jason Garrett's ceiling, to be honest, too high. Like he doesn't seem like he brings in anything like super great. I don't know. That's my thoughts on Jason Garrett.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Justin, how you doing, man? And Fisk, Justin, I'm not sure if you guys have interacted before, but what up? How y'all doing, man?
Fisk, you're quite the interesting human being.
Hey, man, you know, they need to put me in that commercial, man. Forget Conor McGregor. They need to put me in it. You know what I'm saying? Most interesting man in the world, baby.
Well, I certainly agree. Hello, everyone. My friend Hub, how are you doing? Giants are coming off a win, so feeling good. I'm procrastinating as I'm gathering up my notes for the stats report video that I do every single week. So the narrative, I'm in a little bit of a narrative busting mood this week, where I'm starting to get the stopwatch out and getting some explosive plays, or not even explosive plays, but getting the stopwatch out when Daniel Jones or when Jason Garrett calls concepts that go to the sticks or past the sticks, because everybody thinks that it takes 10 seconds for plays to develop that go to the sticks, and that's not true. So it takes sometimes 2.5 seconds. It takes less for simple mini posts, small posts, little slant and goes that you can throw that to the sticks. Doesn't take 5 seconds to develop all that stuff. So I know we're talking a little Jason Garrett, and when we start talking,
where are you with Jason Garrett?
When we start talking Jason Garrett, that's when I get riled up. That's when I start get going. I think Jason Garrett these last 2 seasons, he would, if I had to put a percentage point of like who deserves the most blame, I think Garrett does deserve the most blame. Even more than Dave Gettleman. I think if Jason Garrett was not the offense coordinator of this team, I think Dave Gettleman's job is safe, and I think Joe Judge's job is obviously safe as well. But the thing is, the lack of depth at the offensive line is highlighted because we have a bad coordinator. And then Joe Judge is criticized because he didn't make the decision January 4th of last year to let go of Jason Garrett. And then he hasn't made the decision so far this year, when it's obviously not worked at certain points, hasn't made the decision to move on from him then. But really the main time to make that decision was January 4th of 2021 at the start of this offseason. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that Garrett has highlighted the weaknesses of the team, because your coordinator and your play caller is supposed to maximize everyone else.
Mm-hmm. And it's not, and he's right, and you understand, like, we all know that Mara, that's a nepotism pick. Jason Garrett was a Giants quarterback. He's family. Give him a second chance. They bring in Garrett as a favorite. That wasn't a Joe Judge hire. If you look at everybody else Joe Judge brought in, it's somebody that Joe Judge either worked with or he knew from college, or a Patriot person. Garrett sticks out like a sore thumb on this coaching staff. And if you look at it realistically, Patrick Graham and Joe Judge work wonders with the defense. They work together, they scheme, they game plan, they get it done. And then you have this whole nother thing going on offense that is just like, I don't know if maybe Garrett and Judge don't see eye to eye, or if Judge is okaying, green lighting these game plans, or he don't have the authority to put Garrett in his place. I don't know what's going on, but the defensive side of football is so well coached. And then the offense, it's like we're burning timeouts. We can't get packages in. We don't. Sterling Shepard ran like a 5-yard route on like 3rd and 8 versus the Chiefs 2 weeks ago in field goal range. I'm like, it's just something. It stinks. It just stinks.
Yeah, and Fisk, I mean, that's a great point talking about with Mara and Garrett. And the writing is on the wall for all that to be there and for you to be right. But at the same time, until John Mara comes out and says in a press conference, hey, I really edged on Dave Gettleman to take Saquon Barkley number 2 in 2018. Hey, I really egged on that they keep Eli Manning a little bit longer than they should. Hey, I really egged on Joe Judge that he should hire Jason Garrett. Until he comes out and he says these things and take responsibility, I have no choice as a Giants fan for my mental sanity, and so I could put my head down at on the pillow at night. I have no choice but to say the GM is responsible for player decisions and drafting decisions, free agent decisions, and the head coach is responsible for his coaching staff and the coaching decisions. Like, that's just the way that it works, right? Until John Mara is able to put his hand up and say, hey, which he will never do, I have been part of the problem, and I have told certain people to do certain things, then I have no choice but to put the onus on Gettleman with his decisions of, personnel, and then Joe Judge with the coaching staff. Because right now, I do think even if Mara has the influence over Jason Garrett to bring him in the building, right? I do think that there is a better possibility. There's a better possibility of this happening than not happening. I think Joe Judge is kind of safe right now, and Dave Gettleman will not be back regardless next year. So, I think that is, I'm fairly confident that that is going to be the reality. And if Mara does trust Judge, then Judge should have the power to say, if he disagrees with what he's doing with what's happening with Garrett, he should have the power to say, I don't want this guy here, but that hasn't happened yet.
By the way, guys, do you guys have any people that you would want as general manager if Dave Gettleman was to be fired?
I got nobody in mind right now, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not there yet, man. It's just we're 3-6. This is our best start in 9 years. Hub, you were talking about earlier. Our best start in 4 years under Dave Gettleman, right? We're 3-6, and while the odds are definitely stacked against us, we're psycho fans, and we're still saying that the playoffs are a possibility, right? Even if we lose to against this Tampa team, so I'm still in it. I'm still in it right now, and it's so hard to evaluate GMs because unless you hire a former GM. Like Dave Gettleman, right? Where you can evaluate, well, here was his draft decisions. Here's when he had an opportunity to trade back, but he didn't. And here's what he did with his trades, if he did make trades, et cetera, et cetera. Unless you hire a former GM, you're just looking at what the organization does philosophically, and you don't know how much sway that person had to begin with. So that's the tough thing about looking at like GM candidates and stuff.
Yeah.
And Fisk, I know you wanted to piggyback off of Justin, but real quick, Benny, let me get your last thoughts so I could rotate you out. I got a couple people backstage. I'm gonna rotate in. Go ahead, man.
All right. Yeah, my last thoughts. I'm excited for the future. I hope we can end off this season well. I think our schedule is looking a little easier, so I think there is a higher chance. Also, the Bears' schedule looks really hard right now, so I'm excited about that. We should
They're gonna win one more game.
I think we should get. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a really high pick right there. And I was related when they traded down last year, so I'm happy to see that. So here's the thing, and this is looking far, but if we do end up finishing the season out, we're going to be in a really good position. But if we don't, then we could be in some trouble. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Benny, I have to say, your Twitter post about we have to officially make a proclamation of changing O'Shane Zimenez from X-Man, and we have to make that. We have to transfer that nickname to Xavier McKinney. That was a great post, and I wholeheartedly agree. We need to do that.
I've been kind of calling Xavier the X Factor just because I kind of felt like X-Man was taken, but I don't mind just giving him X-Man. Yeah.
O'Shane doesn't deserve.
O'Shane doesn't deserve being on the team.
O'Shane doesn't deserve to be given the pads on game day for the rest of the year anymore. So he certainly doesn't deserve the nickname.
But yeah, Benny, have a good one, man. Thank you for
calling.
All right,
thanks for having me on.
My thing is, all right, two things. Number one, I think Garrett's out regardless because somebody's gonna have to take the fall for why we didn't make the playoffs. That'll be Garrett. Garrett will take the fall on the coaching staff. And if Mara wants to make changes in the front office, then yeah, it'll be Gettleman who takes the front office, take the fall in the front office. But because what's going to happen is they're going to look at this. Mara's going to say our offense is what? Bottom half of the league again, bottom third of the league again. So they're going to look at the coaching staff and say, okay, Judge, we need to change the offensive coordinator, which makes sense. My whole thing with the Giants is under no circumstances should we keep Joe Judge and fire Dave Gettleman. Under no
That's a fact.
circumstances. I personally believe Dave Gettleman's done a great job. Other than the Odell Beckham trade, I have no complaints with Dave Gettleman. I don't care about rounds 3 through 7. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So one GM hits on some 5th round pick and he's a genius. No, I don't want to hear that. This guy gave us Xavier McKinney and gave us Andrew Thomas in 2020. 2021, he gave us Tony. He gave us Azie Ojulari, who's leading all rookies in sacks right now. 2019, he gave us Daniel Jones, and he gave us Dexter Lawrence. And the idiot corner was playing pretty good until he decided to be the idiot corner. 2018, he gave us Saquon, and he gave us Will Hernandez. Will Hernandez has played pretty damn good this year. We're gonna give him an extension. Nothing big, but we're gonna give him a bag. Nothing too big, but we're gonna extend him. If you told me my GM was going to hit on the first 2 rounds every year, I'll take it. By the way, he drafted Bradbury down here in North Carolina, by the way. Guess what? Guess who our kicker was on the Super Bowl team? Graham Gano. Guess who traded for Leonard Williams? You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's done a lot of good things with the team. He tried to fix the offensive line when he brought in Nate Solder, who was fresh off a Super Bowl in New England. He drafted Will Hernandez. He brought in the guy from Cleveland, Zeitler. So he's tried with the offensive line. He's done it better with the line than Jerry Reese did. So I'm just looking at it from a situation where everybody wants to complain about Gettleman, when at the end of the day, the reason why the Giants haven't prospered is just bad luck. Ever Ingram catches that ball, we're in the playoffs. Philly doesn't tank, we're in the playoffs. Right now, we should be 6-3. Darius Slayton can't catch. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what the hell Adoree Jackson was sniffing when he dropped that pick versus Atlanta. And then we should have beat the Chiefs. But Joe Judge doesn't know how to manage timeouts. So at the end of the day, you look at the Giants, this ain't Gettleman's fault. A lot of the things wrong with the Giants is coaching and bad luck. I would love to see the Giants keep Gettleman, keep Judge, fire Garrett, and keep it pushing.
Shout out to AP for calling in. How you doing, man? You got anything to say to that before we go back to Justin? By the way, very, very nice dog there.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
What's good?
Yeah, I agree and disagree with that because on one hand, yeah, he did draft a lot of talent. You can definitely make the case that we'd be 6-3 right now if Judge was just decent in like 3 games, not making excuses with the headset. But at the same time, you have to question if those picks were right. Like, we took Tony, he's a stud, but we didn't need a wide receiver. If we took Slater instead, or we took Darrisaw instead, where would we be right now? We wouldn't be starting Solder. We'd have him out there, right? So it's like, yeah, he took talent, but was it the right talent at the right position? I just don't think so.
Wait, Fizz, before you go, I want to add the only thing the main thing I disagree with you with what you said, because it's known on the channel that I'm a Gettleman guy. People call me a Gettleman homer. So I agree with actually a good amount of what you said. I disagree with when you said you don't care about the 3rd to the 7th. I care about the 3rd and the 4th, not so much 5th going on, because the majority of your team should be built in those middle rounds. And when I really can't defend the Aaron Robinson pick this year, that cornerback we took. I know he hasn't seen the field yet. I feel like we should have gotten another lineman. Matt Pert, work in progress. We'll see what happens. 2019, who was our third round pick? Oh yeah, O'Shane Zimenez was our third round pick 2019. And then 2018 it was Lorenzo, right? So I do feel the third and fourth you should get some of your team from, like whether it's depth or whatever, you get some of your team from there. But go ahead, and then Justin, I'll get you right there right after Fisk gives his rebuttal.
But you gotta understand, the Tony pick was a necessity. Like Galladay limped into the regular season. Like you can't just say, "Oh, we're fine."
You're talking about AP saying the Tony pick? Oh yeah, AP.
Yeah,
we needed Kadarius Toney. You don't have Kadarius Toney. We have the 2020 wide receiver core all over again.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there were other receivers to take in later rounds. Like who was
going to make the impact? Let me be honest with you. Right now, which rookie receiver past the first round has made a legit impact on their team this year so far?
Rondale Moore.
But also, you would rather have Rondale Moore than AZ Ojulari?
Well, Rondale Moore, I'm saying that
he was a second round pick.
Yeah, we could have took him later though. If we really wanted to, we could have traded up and got him as well. In addition,
gotten who? Rondale, or traded up and gotten Aziz? Aziz was dropping. That's why he went 50. We traded down because we realized he was dropping. He was not supposed to go at 50. So we did trade down for him. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where would you get Rondale?
No, in defense of AP, if for people that have the belief that the Giants should have stuck pat at 11 and taken Rashawn Slater, when you look at the state of the offensive line, I do not blame anybody, or even trading down and taking a Darisaw. I think I really think from the the work that we did over draft prep. I think Slater was really the only guy that I'd be really confident if we're not talking about the Penei Sewells of the world, right? But taking Slater at 11, standing pat, and then boom, Andrew Thomas and Rashawn Slater are your staples at left tackle and right tackle for hopefully a decade, right? But also at the same time, I am a guy who I love trading down twice, and I love the draft capital that we have this year to hopefully fix the offensive line. So hopefully, whatever we do this upcoming offseason, the conversation of Tony versus staying pat at 11 and taking Rashawn Slater, hopefully that argument will die down, because hopefully for once and for all, we get the offensive line right this upcoming offseason, and guys like Shane Lemieux and Nick Gates can come back. But Fisk, one of the things here, so here's a quick question that I want to ask you before I have a little bit of to play the devil's advocate against Dave Gettleman. Dave Gettleman said that he was going to do two things during his introductory press conference in 2018. What were those two things that he really emphasized?
He wanted to rebuild the offensive line and the defensive line. Yep.
And I understand we had some bad luck, especially with injuries on the offensive line. But especially, we'll just start with the edge room. O'Shane Zimenez not hitting on a third-round pick, I get it. I think at this point, the Giants should really think about moving on from O'Shane. And I'm not even talking about releasing in the middle of the season. I'm just talking about you have Trent Harris activated from the practice squad, continue to play him, and then you have to continue to play Quincy Roche. And then when Lorenzo Carter comes back, he plays out the majority of his contract. And if you can bring him back on I'm talking very, very team-friendly deal. I'm not talking about this overpaying for veterans situation like the Giants have done in the past with some charity players like Kareem Martin, like they did with Connor Barwin in 2018. All those 2018 moves where they overpaid for these edge rushers that were bad. Do not do that with Lorenzo Carter since his contract is up. He needs to be very team-friendly. Besides, if he doesn't want to take that team-friendly deal, he's gone and he's not a Giant anymore because he hasn't earned that contract extension. Lorenzo Carter is more disappointing than O'Shane Zimenez because he was a higher draft pick, and I think he had a lot more higher expectation than O'Shane Zimenez coming from Georgia, and then O'Shane Zimenez came from the small school. So, that's the edge room is, I think, why you saw the Giants defense from weeks 1 to 6 really, really struggle. I think Patrick Graham wanted to approach this season in a different way. He wanted to play more man coverage, and he wanted to blitz more. And he was blitzing. Like week 1 against the Broncos, the Giants' blitz rate was like over 40%. Didn't get home. Teddy Bridgewater sat in the pocket for 3 seconds, and that I'm not exaggerating. He sat in the pocket on average for 3 seconds, and nobody got home. And I think, misevaluating the edge room was the biggest mistake of the coaching staff and management this offseason. Thinking Carter can take the step up, thinking Zimenez can take the step up. Aziz has been good, but through 4 years of Dave Gettleman, Aziz Ojulari is the only high leverage investment in the edge room. And this is a guy who said during his opening press conference that he was going to fix the pass rush.
And let me add on to that, Justin, because I agree with that a lot, especially with the one part you said. We struggled in the beginning of the year because we had no pass rush. I've been saying that for basically the past month. The pass rush came back in week 7, seemingly out of nowhere, and then since week 7, we've had a great defense. Aziz is our best pass rusher right now.
I don't even think the pass rush is back. I mean,
but
we have a semblance of a pass rush basically right now.
Yeah, Justin kind of put that blame on DG. That's not his fault. You know whose fault our pass rush is?
I don't think it's. Yeah, I'm saying it's kind of Dave. Yeah, whose fault?
What I'm saying is Patrick Graham and Judge and Joe Judge's introductory press conference. When he brought on Patrick Graham, remember, they wanted to get coverage sacks. They said they wanted to rebuild the secondary. They weren't concerned with edge rushers. That's fresh out the mouth of Joe Judge and Patrick Graham. So maybe Dave Gettleman ignored edge rusher the last year because Patrick Graham and Joe Judge wanted more corners.
I don't think that's
what their words were. They wanted coverage.
I don't think they ever said Micah Parsons.
I don't think they ever said that they want to prioritize coverage sacks. And frankly, if you look at Dave Gettleman's draft record in Carolina, he drafted more corners than anything. So his blueprint of how he operated in Carolina was drafting corners, and then he's done the same thing with New York, which, by the way, I like. I think the league is trending towards these coverage sacks. The league is trending towards quarterbacks getting rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds. What pass rush is going to get home in a matter of 2.5 seconds? Not even the best in the league can. One of my favorite stats showing how the league has really changed throughout the years. 1985, there were 30 players who had 10 plus sacks. In 2020, there were 10 players who had 10 plus sacks. So sacks are not coming at the same rate as they used to. So that's prioritizing secondary play. But there comes a point where if you want to have a defensive philosophy that is about getting to the quarterback, which Patrick Graham wanted to at the beginning of the year, if you're going to blitz, somebody's got to get home. Somebody's got to get home eventually, especially when these quarterbacks are holding onto the ball for 3 seconds like quarterbacks were towards the beginning part of the season.
I don't know how true this is, but I remember someone saying that Gettleman wanted Micah Parsons. So if that's true, then I can't speak on.
I can't speak on that, AP. That's just, we're talking rumors and stuff now. You can't really. It's not much you could get from rumors. There's a rumor that Ben McAdoo. We're not going to get into that.
Patrick,
that was actually confirmed by more than one person. The whole Ben McAdoo story was actually kind of confirmed by more than one person.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things where, like Hub said, it's a rumor, and if you're gonna, if you're gonna really base your takes and if you're gonna base your opinion on you're gonna lose sleep over it. It's one of those.
And
things.
Look how bad Mahomes looks now without that offensive line. He would have busted on the Giants in 2017. He would have busted. Mahomes,
we had no offensive line.
Absolutely busted on the Giants. But
no, I like what Justin is saying with the coverage sacks, and that I did not know that with the league trending towards that stat from 85 to now. It does make a lot of sense when you think about it. But yeah, no, Fisk, how do you respond to that when he's saying what he's saying was Judge didn't really say anything about coverage sacks like that?
Well, no, what Judge and Graham, because I remember I did a video on it. What Judge and Graham wanted to prioritize was coverage. They said they wanted their coverage to dictate the sacks. They wanted to get, this was the quote, all right, and I know this for a fact. This was the quote from Judge. Judge says, we don't want one guy with 10 sacks. We want multiple guys with 5 or 6 sacks. That was his quote. He says he wanted a collective. He says he wanted the coverage to dictate the sacks. He said the scheme would dictate the sacks. That's what Judge and Graham, that was their words. Now my whole thing is this. At the end of the day, we needed a quarterback.
Okay.
So we needed a quarterback. Okay. We needed that. as much as I hate the Saquon pick, I would give him a pass for the Saquon pick because Mara laid down the law that we weren't getting rid of Eli in 2018. So if you want to give Eli the last hurrah, build around Eli, okay, fine, take Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, but the thing about that is, why did he have to take him at 2? There's no way you can tell me that he didn't have trade offers and that he couldn't have took them. Like, he couldn't have took them because besides us, who would have taken Saquon that high? Like, you're telling me we couldn't have
All right,
gone
let
down to
me
6 or 7?
say something real quick on the
Zeke went
Saquon
fourth
thing.
though.
Yeah, I'm like, that was in a
Leonard
time
Fournette
where
went
running
third.
backs were going top 5, and I say in a time as if it's a long time ago. It's just 4 years ago, 5 years ago. You know, running backs were going top 5. Zeke went 4th. I think Leonard Fournette also went 4th. Christian McCaffrey was also top 5, or he went 6th. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing, and then this kind of goes back to what I was saying with the rumors, right? We don't know if there were any trade offers. There was never any confirmation. Yes, if we think about it logically, maybe there was. But where was the Giants fans, NFL draft scouts, and everybody with Saquon during the 2018 draft process?
I hated it. I didn't want him. I wanted a quarterback.
Let me talk about majority here then. Most people thought that Saquon was one of the best, if not the best players in that draft around the 2018 draft. Most people were fine with him being here. But that's why I'm like, I have a problem with going back to the 2018 draft and acting as if at the time of the pick, whenever that was, April, whatever, 2018, it was a terrible pick. Right now, we can look back and judge on it. Sure, that's hindsight, in my opinion, though. And like I said, I can't speak on, was there trade offers, because do we really know if there was? Like, what's the confirmation there?
But the thing is, all I was just trying to say is he hasn't had an opportunity to take an edge rusher yet. I mean, we had to get Andrew Thomas last year, even though I want to CeeDee Lamb. Shout out to the Bengals for proving my theory right. They chose Chase over Sewell, and look how that turned out. But whatever. And then this year we needed another receiver. We were gonna take Devontae Smith if the Eagles didn't do what they did. So one way or the other, we weren't taking Slater. So there's this notion out there that the Giants should have stood back and took Slater. We were gonna take Devontae if he was there. You know what I'm saying? But the Eagles did that. So it's like,
was up to Gettleman. If it was up to Gettleman, he would have taken, because Tony was a judge pick, right? I think Tony and Devontae Smith would have been judge picks. If you were leaving it to Gettleman, I feel like Micah Parsons would have been such a good choice.
Again, we don't know. We really don't know, because this is how until somebody comes out and just flat out says, I made this move, I'm responsible for this, I'm responsible for that. We have to presume that Mara is owning the team. We have to presume that Dave Gettleman is responsible for the draft picks. And this doesn't mean that there's not collaboration. I mean, I think part of the reason why Dave Gettleman stayed after 2020 is because John Mara enjoyed seeing the collaboration between Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman. So I'm not saying that you're wrong, but the speculation of, was this a Judge pick? Was this, are the bad picks Gettleman pick? We just don't know. I'm not even saying that you're wrong, and I'm not even disagreeing with you, but I think
it's just like, how much can we actually discuss it?
Yeah, it's I don't even know how to respond to it. You know what I mean? Because it's just Dave Gettleman is job description. He was responsible for free agents. He's responsible for draft picks, and Joe Judge is responsible for his coaching staff, coaching decisions, and developing these players. Which also, by the way, it's been a problem of developing players too. So you put the onus on Dave Gettleman for not, maybe picking the right guys or getting the right guys in the building, but also it's the responsibility of this coaching staff of developing these players. This was a coaching staff that was pitched as teachers. We're really, really good teachers.
Not only
we are
teachers,
coaching
don't
staff
we have the most coaches out of any staff in the league?
And now there's conversation of
there's college coaches too.
Now there's conversation of there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and I don't know.
Can we put them in the offensive room?
Yeah,
Can we put some of them in the offensive room, please?
How many offensive coaches do we have? Freddie Kitchens, he's supposed to be the running game coordinator. Jordan Ronan came on Talking Giants over the offseason, and we flat out asked him, dude, Freddie Kitchens got a promotion, but what is he doing? And he's like, he's like the running game coordinator. The running game has been terrible this year. You know what I mean?
Just one game we've had a good running game, and it was
that was this past Sunday. Yeah.
But real quick, AP, Because at the end of the day, bro, I'm happy we got that Bears pick. So we got Tony in the Bears pick. You know, when it's all said and done, having 2 first-round picks in about 6 months is gonna feel great.
And don't forget, we also
It's
have an
gonna feel
addition.
great.
Was it an additional second or third from
And
the
an
trade down in
additional
the second
second, I
round?
believe.
I think it's a third. We have a. I mean, we just
Yeah.
have a bunch of high leverage
Exactly. We have a lot of good picks, basically.
first 3
coming
round
up.
picks. And AP, my response to while I yes, I for as of right now, the people that maybe wanted to stand pat at 11 and take Slater or take a tackle in the first round, I'm with you because you're seeing the repercussions of Nate Solder, which Nate Solder has been one of the worst free agent signings in franchise
water.
history. One of the worst free agent signings in franchise history, let alone though the worst by Dave Gettleman. So you're seeing the repercussions of still having him on the team, but also you're seeing the repercussions of Dave Gettleman not acknowledging the depth of the offensive line. That is the main thing. Yes, you can't predict the injuries. Yes, the starters for the offensive line, I think if everybody was healthy, Lemieux and Gates, I think Lemieux, you saw in the 30 snaps that he had, looked really, really good, especially playing next to Andrew Thomas, who took steps up. Nick Gates playing second year in the position. Will Hernandez would have been meh, just like he is right now. But, not acknowledging the depth of just, you saw the panic. There was absolute panic. My dog is being annoying. Go down, puppy. You saw the panic that ensued the last week of the summer to trade for Billy Price, trade away BJ Hill, to trade for Ben Bredesen, to sign Matt Skura off the practice squad, which all 3 of those guys are now starters for us, especially Bredesen and Skura, who are rotating at guard. There were 3, those were panic trades. Those were not moves that, and even before the panic trades, we're signing Ted Larson. We're signing Larson.
I forgot about him. Yeah.
You remember Joe Looney from the Cowboys who retired? Zach Fulton was a free agent signing over the offseason who had a ton of starts, but was just like a meh. We need to sign somebody for depth. There is no, the only planned depth piece the Giants had really going into the season was Nate Solder on the offensive line because Matt Parrott was supposed to start, remember. The only depth piece the Giants planned on for this year was the swing tackle Nate Solder, who was the worst tackle in football in 2019. That was their plan for offensive line depth, and that is on Dave Gettleman. I'm sorry, Fisk. There is bad luck, but that is on Dave Gettleman, where his only substantial plan for depth of the offensive line was Nate Solder, and he was the worst tackle in 2019.
Here's my rebuttal for that. I got to go at you right now, Justin. See, here's the thing. In 2020, we neglected corner, wide receiver, and edge rusher because we wanted to rebuild the offensive line. We took Thomas, Pert, and Lemieux and a bunch of random linebackers.
Well, we drafted Darnay Holmes and we signed James Bradbury.
Okay, we did the Darnay Holmes thing.
And those were 2 very substantial picks that played a lot of value in the 2020 season.
Yeah, but we also got reduced to starting Isaac Yiadom, second corner.
Isaac Yiadom was not as bad as people make him out to be.
It worked out fine.
But we can all agree we needed a second corner, right? So here's what I'm trying to say.
We got a Dory Jackson.
The depth that you're talking about on the offensive line, they did that at wide receiver and they did that at cornerback because you can never have enough corners, and God knows the Giants can never have enough wide receivers because our top 5 receivers from Galladay to John Ross to Shepard to Tony to Slayton have all been hurt at least once or twice this year. So what I'm trying to say to Justin is, you spent the entire 2020 draft primarily on the offensive line. We needed another corner. We needed another wide receiver. We needed an edge rusher. We addressed every other need on the team besides the line because you have to have faith in your previous draft picks. You had to have faith in Lemieux. You had to have faith in Pert.
But those are the starters, though. Where Justin is talking about is the depth. Those became our starters.
Okay, so let me ask y'all a question then. So, at the end of the day, Rodarius Williams is pretty good, right? Well, for fifth round pick, he's pretty good. Okay, so I guess the depth that you're talking about, Justin, because Aaron Robinson, a lot of Giants beat reporters and a lot of Giants experts, they were most excited about him. That was the steal of the draft right there, was Aaron Robinson. We stole him from the Eagles. That was supposed to be our guy, like the jewel of our draft class, right? what I'm trying to say is we needed AZ Ojulari, we needed Tony, we needed Aaron Robinson, we needed more corner depth. And who would you take off after round 4?
No,
So
and
after the
I'm
fourth
not.
round, who
I'm
would you
not saying that those moves were bad. I love the Aziz pick. I love the Tony pick. I love Aaron Robinson. But the thing is when you go out and you cut Kevin Zeitler, and then you use the Kevin Zeitler money that you saved to sign Kyle Rudolph. When Kyle Rudolph, what does Kyle Rudolph do that Caden Smith can't do? And you sign Kyle Rudolph and you don't trade Evan Ingram. So you have all these, and you also restructured Levine Toilolo. So you have all these tight ends on this roster that are not going to really do anything for you because, tight end, nobody does anything on this Giants offense, right? So the Kevin Zeitler money, which that was a starter, that's not even depth, right? You're talking Will Hernandez or Shane Lemieux could have been depth at that point, which I love that. I love being in that position where there's a competition at one of the guard spots and Will Hernandez and Shane Lemieux are ducking it out during training camp, a full training camp, and the best man wins. I mean, I love that situation. And then Kevin Zeitler, he's on the team this year. You don't sign Kyle Rudolph. You keep Kevin Zeitler. And then Kevin Zeitler moves on after this year because maybe his contract's up. And then, boom, you have Will Hernandez back on a short deal. And then you have Shane Lemieux, who still has the entirety of his rookie contract left. So it's not just the draft. There's free agency moves that the Giants have made. And I go back to, Nate Solder 2018, how that contract is still haunting us, not necessarily because of the cap, right? Because he reduced his cap, but just because he's on the team and just because he's a body that we couldn't cut because it would have been too much negative cap on us, it's impacting the team still. So that's one of those situations where it's not just the draft and it's not just the high leverage draft picks in rounds 1 through 3. There's a lot more that kind of goes into it where decisions have been kind of missed on, especially with Kyle Rudolph, that impacted other spots.
But we can't keep Zeitler and pay Leonard Williams and pay Kenny Golladay though.
I mean,
then
don't sign Kyle Rudolph. I mean, that's the main thing. I don't mind those moves.
A 1-year deal for Rudolph? What was he, like a 2?
No, he's a 2-year. He's 2 years. He's getting paid a lot of money.
So, but my thing is, okay, I get it with Zeitler. I get it. But at the end of the day, could we have gotten Golladay? Could we have gotten Leonard Williams costs a lot of money. Could we have gotten both those guys and paid Zeitler? That's my question. Could we have paid Zeitler?
Have you done the numbers on that, Justin? Have you done the numbers?
Frankly, the Ravens extend Zeitler.
It just makes sense that Kevin Zeitler's cap hit was the cap savings that they got was somewhat substantial, but they are paying probably Kyle Rudolph more money than what they saved on Kevin Zeitler. I'm pretty sure of that.
So Kevin Zeitler this year has a cap hit of $4 million, and Kyle Rudolph, and this is by Spot Rack, Kyle Rudolph this year has a cap hit. It's loading. Has a cap hit of $4.7 million actually. So he is higher than Kevin Zeitler.
That's on the Ravens though, Kush. We saved at least, I think it was $13 million when we let Kevin Zeitler go though.
But you also could have renegotiated with Kevin Zeitler, and we're friends with the Zeitler family at Talking Giants, and we kind of got a little bit of confirmation from them that the Giants never even approached them about renegotiating. Really? Yeah, they didn't even try it. So they just flat out cut them. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
They didn't even try to renegotiate. They just said, we're going to cut you in the offseason.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
Oh, that's different. See, I just thought they wanted to save the cap. I mean, because we had just spoken earlier before you came on, Justin, that because I do a lot of Saints content, and the way the Saints got their cap number down is by restructuring current players and making their 2021 cap hit as low as possible. So
right.
We could have done that. I didn't know that. I thought it was more of a situation where they just let Zeitler go because they needed as much space as possible. I didn't know they didn't approach him.
Mm-hmm.
No,
that was a little bit of a nugget right there.
Yeah, no, that's a gem right there. See, that's that insider information right there. See, I didn't know that. That's a gem right there.
Yeah, I get some informed opinions. We don't break news. Well, Bobby breaks some news, but we don't really break news. But we get some informed opinions, and then that's how we tailor some of our takes.
Fitz, I was gonna say you about to hop off or no?
In a minute. because now my food is like. You ever been hungry and then you don't eat and then you're not hungry no more?
Mhm.
Yeah, but nah. So all right, so Justin. So basically, what you're saying is you want Gettleman gone, right?
Yeah. I mean, my priority list is Jason Garrett number 1, Dave Gettleman number
Agreed.
2. You know,
But
so
my question to you is, what's more important to you, keeping Judge or getting rid of Gettleman? What's more important?
what's more important, keeping Judge? I mean, getting rid of Gettleman is more important because I like Joe Judge. I would like Joe Judge a lot more if he just flat out took control of the offense. I like Joe Judge for a lot of reasons, but him not taking control of the offense and putting more of an aggressive footprint on the offense is, arguably, scoring points, and this is an offensive league. That's like the most important thing in football, right? So that's why I'm kind of out on Judge right now, even though I like him. It's just the thing that he's flawed in is a very important thing. So that's why I'm a little bit more on the getting rid of Gettleman side.
Real
So
quick,
Justin,
just to rotate, AP, thank you for calling in, man. I'm gonna pop you out and get Big Pat Sports Talk on here. He's been here a minute. Pat, what's up, man? How you doing? But go ahead there, Fisk.
What's going on,
Justin,
y'all?
what's good, Pat? So Justin, you seem to be in the loop inside. You
Some
seem like you
things.
got a couple ears in the building. Let me ask you a question because I have to know. Big Fist has to have an answer to this. I'm blaming I'm blaming Judge for the offense because you can't tell me he's not approving these game plans. Every play go through his headset. There's no way I can blame all this on Gary. Even though I want him fired yesterday. At some point, if you watch Joe Judge punt the ball in the field goal range, if you watch Joe Judge like punt the ball on like 4th and 1s and stuff, at some point, you see how conservative the offensive game plan is, and do you see how conservative Joe Judge is with field position? Is it possible that he's the reason that Jason Garrett's offense is so dang on vanilla? Is it possible?
Yes, and that's why Judge deserves blame, and that's why if it were up to me, you do wipe the slate clean at the end of the season, even though I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think that you're going to have Judge stay, hopefully Garrett go, and Gettleman's also going to go too. But Judge is responsible. Like I said, the hierarchy, right? Gettleman, free agents, draft. That's what he's responsible. Joe Judge, player development, coaching decisions, coaching staff, philosophy of the team. That's what he's responsible for. And in the most important area, Judge has failed. So,
Real quick, so we just popped on 2 people. First, Big Pat, how you doing? And then Nate afterwards. Up, how you doing, man? Go
What's
ahead.
going on, fellas?
What's that?
What's going on?
It's a couple of things that you guys were talking about earlier. Fisk, you said you thought Saquon Barkley was the wrong pick for the 2018 draft.
Yeah,
You said you wanted a quarterback, right?
yeah.
So the quarterbacks available at that time were Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Now Lamar Jackson turned out to be great, but he wasn't even considered in that top 4. Baker Mayfield, do you think he survives with this Giants team? Rosen, you seen what
He already
happened to
went though. He
Rosen?
went number 1.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
here's
what I'm
the
saying. So you already seen what happened to Rosen. You see Darnold, and you most definitely pointed out that Josh Allen was basically trash before he got Diggs and those weapons over in Buffalo before he got those weapons. So what do you think would have happened?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Big Pat. Whatever quarter, other than Josh Rosen, because intangibly he's trash. If we had taken Josh Allen, he gets prime pre-injury Odell, he would have been fine.
We traded though.
Yeah, we
No,
traded Odell.
no, this is
Oh no, it's
2018.
2018. Oh no, he's
Yeah.
okay. Wait, I'm thinking 2020. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
2018.
he'd had a healthy Odell from the jump. Who knows how much? And then he also gets Pat Shurmur designing his offense. Pat Shurmur can work wonders with a lot of people. Look what he did. Look what he's doing with Teddy Bridgewater. Look what he did last year with not the rookie who's a bum, but the other guy. Oh my gosh, he had another quarterback playing for him last year because
You talking Pat Sherman?
Yeah,
Drew
Pat
Lock?
Sherman.
Drew Lock
No.
was terrible. Drew Lock is awful.
Who are you talking about right
No,
now?
Case Keenum. He went
Oh,
to
okay.
the championship
Case Keenum.
game with
Journeyman.
Case
Yeah.
Keenum.
Okay.
That's what got him the job at the Giants, right? He was fresh off that championship game with Case Keenum.
Mhm.
So I'm
Oh,
just saying
okay, I
in
know what you're
general,
talking
like Shermer's more of a quarterback whisperer. So if you let Shermer handpick his quarterback in 2018, good things would have happened. But that's not my point. The point was Eli Manning was on spin cycle. He's washed. He was done. We needed a quarterback. You do not take a running back at the number 2 pick with the worst offensive line in the league and a quarterback who should have been on Monday Night Football that season. Bottom line. The Cowboys can do that because they had 3 Hall of Famers on the offensive line. They could take Zeke. The Jaguars had 2 Pro Bowl guards. They could take Leonard Fournette. The Giants had Eric Flowers. Make it make sense.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
I think you're making a really valid point with the idea that quarterback and an offensive line in this modern NFL are objectively more valuable than a running back. I think I tend to agree that I wouldn't have drafted Saquon. I think we need to avoid absolutely trashing on this pick because we have to understand we're looking at Saquon through the lens of what's happened instead of what could have happened if he didn't get injured every season except his rookie year. And I think when you're looking at Saquon as undisputably a generational talent and undisputably one of the best running backs to come out of any draft in the last 10 years at least, I think it's difficult to say that there's no argument whatsoever for taking him. Now, in that sense, I would still have taken Quentin Nelson over him. I probably would have taken a quarterback over him if it was my choice. But if I'm Dave Gettleman, and I've already been told Eli Manning has to be your guy, you're not taking a quarterback this year, and that's completely what my circumstance is. Saquon is definitely one of the first 2 guys I'm looking at. It's probably him or Quentin Nelson for me, just because in my mind, Saquon Barkley was the best overall player in that draft class.
That's what I was saying earlier. But shout out to Tudo real quick with the $5 super chat. Salute Pisani. Drop by your office to pay our proper respects and twin on the lights for the sit and slap down all Eagles fans on the way out. Thank you, Tudo. All the way from Italy, bro.
His hatred of Eagles fans is the most consistent thing ever, and I love it.
I'd say one thing.
Of God.
Good to
That
meet
was
Justin, the
Gettleman's
other
quote.
half of Talking Giants. I haven't been on the channel with you yet. That's pretty cool. You guys, I love you guys' channel.
Appreciate it, Big Pat.
Second thing, I forgot what you guys were talking about. Oh, the offensive line. I think I'm gonna go with Fisk on this. There's been a lot of bad luck with Dave Gettleman on this offensive line. You gotta I don't know if you can name another left tackle that was available when Nate Solder was available at free agency. He was the best thing that was out there.
Fresh off a Super Bowl.
Yeah, fresh off a Super Bowl. He was the best thing that was out there. We need an offensive line. If you can name 2 other left tackles that he could have picked up at free agency and left tackle that year, I would like to hear them. Secondly, the offensive line starting this year would have been Andrew Thomas, left tackle, Shane Lemieux, left guard, center Nick Gates, right guard Hernandez, and Pert. I agree with you that the depth wasn't addressed, but he kind of did. When he got those 2 veteran linemen, they both retired. And you can't stop anybody from retiring. And who's to say any of those rookies that we would have picked would have came in and just dominated in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th round?
Real quick, Pat, the chat was answering your question. So there was
Andrew Whitworth.
Norwell and
No.
Whitworth that year.
That was Jerry Reese. That wasn't Gettleman. Jerry Reese
Yeah.
turned down Whitworth.
Right. Jerry Reese turned down Whitworth because Whitworth was what, 37 at the time?
Jerry Reese made fun of him. Yeah.
Yeah. And so after those 2 guys retired, he signed a center from the Jets who later tore his Achilles and he wasn't there available. And then Thomas gets hurt, Gates gets hurt, Lemieux gets hurt. Like everybody got hurt at almost around the same exact time. So that's kind of a bad luck. Like with the offensive line that was going in the beginning of the season, was anybody just saying, man, this offensive line was terrible? Or were people in hope they're like, yeah, man, we're going with the youth movement at the line. We might be pretty good.
I was
We went with
optimistic,
the
I'd
youth
say.
movement.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
it was the concern about the depth and so the thing about the line. Now, I don't know what everybody else is saying, but what we were saying at Talking Giants is, yeah, we're excited about the young line, but the problem is that the starting offensive line and the depth, the skill level between them
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
that they
It wasn't
weren't
a big
that
gap.
different. It wasn't a big gap. And you mentioned Zach Fulton. Sure, you can't control anybody retiring, right? But Chad Slade was like that option. He in terms of before Zach Fulton was signed in January, by the way, Zach Fulton wasn't even I'm sorry, not Zach Fulton. John. Oh my God,
Jonathan
What's his
Jonathan
name?
Jonathan Harrison.
Harrison. Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan Harrison from the
Jets.
the
Jets
Jets.
center, right?
That was a free agent signing that was made in January. Wasn't even made in March because that was the guy that was coming from practice squads from 2020. So that was our initial plan at backup center. Was a guy that was on practice squads in 2020. I'm not saying that you need draft picks at every single backup spot and you need the I don't want my backups to be better than my starters and stuff like that. That's not what I'm asking for. But give me something. Give me one draft pick that is a backup, And especially when our backups heading into the season before they all got hurt, before Nate Solder lost weight and didn't come into the season in shape because he actually did say those things. Before all that, the backups and the depth weren't even that far off from the starters to begin with. And that's my issue there. Where us at Talking Giants, we were kind of calling out, we're excited about the starters, but hey, we're really biting our nails if these backups do come in because we're not feeling great about that, especially when Nate Solder was the only guy that they really planned on being that swing tackle and being that backup, that solidified backup when he was the worst tackle in 2019. And the whole thing about signing him in 2018, the Giants were supposedly, what they should have done is they should have rebuilt a little bit more in 2018, right? But what they tried to do is win at the same time.
They tried to
rebuilding.
retool instead of rebuild.
That's not Dave Gettleman's fault. That's Mara.
Well,
Yeah.
again, we don't know. So, Big Pat, that's what I was saying before. We don't know that. And as Giants fans, and at least for me, right, this is my psyche as a fan. If I'm going to put my head down to sleep tonight in terms of compartmentalizing and dealing with what's going on with this team, I need to have the belief that John Mara is doing ownership decisions and Dave Gettleman is responsible for the drafting of players, free agent signings, and then coaches coach, right? That's the structure that I need to understand. And Dave Gettleman, just because, hey, that's a bad signing, they overpaid for Nate Solder, that's on John Mara. I can't say that until John Mara comes out and says, I made Dave Gettleman do that, so he doesn't deserve blame for it. I can't do that.
I think
so-
my problem with the whole thing is that I look at a lot of what you guys are saying, and I completely agree. This year there was so much bad luck with injuries and retirements and whatnot. Can't blame that on Gettleman. I understand that. I do agree with Justin, though, that it felt really panicked. It felt like a lot of this was just scrambling around in the sense that I think that a lot of these backups we brought in, they went into the draft. They were saying, all right, we're going to get these 5 guys, like some of these 5 guys. Then all of them got taken, and they panicked and didn't draft a lineman in the entire way. And I think you saw that with Landon Dickerson. You saw it happen, obviously, with Devontae Smith at receiver. I think they didn't really have a backup plan after that. And as we went through, you saw those moves start to get made. My bigger problem isn't necessarily with that, because I know that's not great. And I understand, even then, we still should have been better off than we were if we didn't have that horrendous injury luck. My problem is more so with expecting results out of what we've been doing, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, someone please, in the 5 or 6 years since Eric Smith, and I know we don't even like to say his name around here, but in those 5 or 6 years, we've taken 2 offensive linemen in the first 2 rounds, a first rounder and a second rounder. And every year we hear people say the Giants have sunk in a bunch of investment into the offensive line. The Giants, year after year, are perennially restocking their line. And yeah, we're bringing in some depth pieces, and you can definitely look at guys like Shane Lemieux and guys of that caliber that we're getting in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round and say that's where we should be getting our depth. That's great, but you can't expect to hit on starters out of that. If you're going to come in and say in your opening day press conference, my 2 goals are this, and this is the exact same problem mirrored with the edge position, you can't go bargain bin hunting. If those are the 2 things you're going to say, I'm going to fix, this is going to be the brand, this is what this Giants team is going to be built on going forward, you can't make 2 top 2 round picks in 6 years. That's not going to work. And those 2, just look at what happened. Will Hernandez, in my mind, is a really solid lineman. He's not great. He's not going to be an anchor. He's not the guy that you're going to run behind, but he's good. He's not nearly the problem. Andrew Thomas, we picked at 4, and he looks spectacular when he's healthy. Again, bad luck there. But for me, that's a perfect model for what we should have been doing before.
And
I
once again,
think
Nate,
when
like
you're-
you
when
said,
you're
since
looking at
it's
this
married with
value,
the edge position, you look at Aziz, he's our best edge rusher because we
Right.
spent the highest pick on him.
right. And you look at that same thing. Sorry, real quick, Big Pat. I'm about to finish
Oh
this
no,
up.
you good.
Yeah. And I think when you look at that and you look at 2 players being picked that high in 6 years and you say, how is it not being fixed? Why are we busting on all these players? Because we're not really trying that hard. And I understand there's a great argument to be had when you look at individual classes. Well, who would you rather have? Kadarius Toney. You can't pick him. You can't pick Aziz. That's a very valid point. But for me, in 6 years, you can't have that excuse. The only free agent lineman we've attacked in those 6 years and really put money in, invested in, has been Nate Solder. And we saw how that worked out. And then you look at the edge position, it's basically the same thing. So for me, I just can't accept the excuse. I absolutely put the blame on Gettleman one way or the other, whether you look short-term or you look long-term. I can't escape putting that on Gettleman.
Okay, this is a question for Nate and Justin. Fisk, you want to get it into it as well. When we won the Super Bowl in 2007 and 2011, how many first and second round picks did we have on the offensive line?
Oh no, that was one of the worst lines in the league. 2011 it was. 2007 we had McKenzie and Snee and Soybert and Deal.
Yeah. How many of them were first and second round picks?
O'Hara was a
Snee?
free agent signing. Snee was, I think, a second round pick. McKenzie was a free agent signing. Soybert might have been undrafted or a late round, and then
O'Hara
Deal
was
might have been
undrafted too.
a late round pick. But at the end of the, Big Pat, it's a great point, right? And it's a valid one. I'm sure you can pick out certain scenarios and say, "Ooh, but look at this exception. Ooh, but look at this exception."
I'm not just saying just an exception. I'm saying I think a lot of it has to deal with bad luck. Andrew Thomas, when he was playing just alone, Daniel Jones looked like a way better quarterback because he believed that his blind side was
Andrew Thomas
protected.
is the best offensive lineman in the league. But
Yeah, and really, and
Because he's a
you know,
walking Hall of Famer. It's over.
And last year, those same linemen that went down, that were hurt, we had a pretty damn good running game the second half of the season.
I would
and
say
Big
pretty
Pat-
damn good. I would say decent.
Big Pat, that's a good point
We
because
were leading after like week 12 from like week 7 to like week 13. We were like number 1.
Hold on, can I say something real quick? We just spent 30 minutes talking about an offensive line that wasn't a problem until Andrew Thomas got hurt. For all the stuff we just complained about with this offensive line, the first month of the season and going into the Dallas game, Daniel Jones had plenty of time.
did I not
Well,
say?
it's a
Did I not
problem.
say that earlier? Literally just a couple minutes ago on the stream, I was like, when Andrew Thomas was healthy, the line was not that bad in pass protection.
yes,
They were terrible in run blocking.
Yeah, I
And
gave
pass
up on the run
protection.
blocking. Yeah, I gave up on that.
In pass protection, with just Andrew Thomas there, they were actually not that bad.
And everything Nate said is right. Everything Justin and Pat, everything y'all said is right. But it was working.
No, but which is why left tackle, when you talk about positional value, right? This
Yeah.
is why, GM, one of the things that I'm going to be looking at once Dave Gettleman has moved on from is wherever this person comes from, how did they value positional value? How did they value garnering draft picks and garnering draft value? And then where in the draft did they pick certain positions in certain rounds? So did you pick a running back number 2 overall? That's a little bit of a bad red mark, red flag in my book. Are you picking positions like left tackle, quarterback, and edge rusher with top tier first round pick? Check. That's a good frame of mind in my book. And I will say, cornerbacks scare me. As a Giants fan, I'm so scared of taking cornerbacks in the first round.
We are
I have that
horrible
same
at taking
mentality, man.
cornerbacks.
I'm willing
We
to
are
spend
horrible.
50.
What?
I'm willing to spend 50% of the cap space just to sign cornerbacks, and I'm
Right.
okay with that. But neither here nor there. You're seeing with Andrew Thomas, you're seeing why left tackle is the second most valuable position in the game of football.
It might be
Quarterback
the
being
most
number
valuable.
1. Quarterback being number 1, left tackle being number 2. And you saw it when Andrew Thomas literally by himself was doing his thing and he was clamping down on that left side, right? You saw Daniel Jones's pocket manipulation, which was an issue his first 2 years as a pro. His pocket manipulation improved, which I do think Jones deserves credit for that too. But when the car crash is happening in front of you versus on your blind side and you can't see it, it's just much easier to navigate. When you have Nate Solder, who is a turnstile, but when he's just turning his hips and he's running and he's pushing and he's running guys to the outside because they're trying to go around him, then Daniel Jones can step up in the pocket and navigate that. But I will say, in terms of the line, so yes, Andrew Thomas clamping down that left side. Gettleman deserves credit for that pick since he got ripped for that pick. You know, Rose should have been the guy. Becton should have been that guy. Hub, you right there?
Do you need a lozenge, Kush?
I'm good. I'm good. I was just saying, I'm saying Andrew Thomas's biggest fan right here.
But they do deserve.
Kush.
But they do deserve. I mean, the Giants' running game, it just has not been here. And if you are going to maximize, the number 2 pick in 2018, the way that the running back position works is it is kind of relying on a good offensive line. And you are wasting Saquon Barkley, but not by not having a good offensive by not having a good rushing offensive line. And I can't tell you how many times, Nate, you're a big film guy. How many times has Nate Solder as the backside defender?
Stop. Don't make me think about this.
Where all Nate Solder has to do is almost just stand there and get in somebody's way for a second and a half.
Pretty much just be an obstacle.
Yeah, and he just lets guys come off the backside, and that just ruins rushing plays. So
I remember the Black Cat game.
There's plays where he won't even make contact, which is honestly impressive.
I got a good question for you, Justin. Are you just into the offensive line as Bobby?
No,
Bobby's deep.
Yeah, Bobby does the O-line reports, and I mean, I'm on Hub's channel. I feel bad I'm doing this, but we actually
That's
just
fine. You got it.
Actually just the O-line report that Bobby did today. We actually interviewed Nick Gates for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah,
Nick Gates gave a 10-minute update on how his health condition is. Well, he doesn't really give like a time.
Nick Gates has been a friend of Talking Giants for a minute now.
Yeah, we interviewed him over the offseason.
They got friends in high places, man.
No, I mean, we have good relationships with people. It's not forced.
John Boy Media helps come in.
So let me ask you this, because you want Gettleman going, right? So here's my fear. If we get rid of Gettleman and we keep Joe Judge, Mara's gonna doesn't that mean at that point he hands the franchise to Joe Judge? And Joe Judge, like Kyle Shanahan, like
we need to stop
Adam Gase,
one and let one hang around. If you
what Pat's saying, man,
if you get rid of Gettleman, get rid of Judge too.
It's got to just be a fresh start. You can't rebuild and leave half of it.
It's not going to happen.
Doing that.
It's not going to happen.
Real quick, shout out to Tudo for the $5 super chat. He says heart and soul of the
coaches, though.
Real quick, my guy, let me get this. He says heart and soul of any offense is a solid O-line. Then the rest of the offense starts clicking and scoring like fireworks in 4th of July. I agree with that. I also agree with the mirror, which is the mirror of it, which is the heart and soul of a defense, is the pass rush. But go ahead, Fisk. What were you saying?
All I'm saying, because now Big Fish starting to get hungry again. But all I'm saying in general is, I'm sick of Joe Judge. I'm sick of McAdoo. The Giants need to go ahead and get a Harbaugh out of college and let him pick the general manager. That's how this goes now. These new head coaches run the organization and the GM works for them. No more first-time head coaches, please. Go get an established, proven head coach. If we get rid of Judge, can we please just get somebody who knows what the hell they doing? Because everybody wants to talk about, the Giants need to be more progressive and the Giants need to be more get the next big thing on offense. Wasn't that McAdoo 5 years ago? We just hired Joe Judge. Like, we've tried the whole young 30-year-old coach thing. It ain't working. Can we go get some? Yeah, can we go get some 60-year-old who's grizzled and been around the block for a couple times, please? Who knows what he's doing? I honestly want Harbaugh. Like, that's who I want. Or
Jim Harbaugh?
Yes, or if Shanahan gets fired in San Francisco, we could try him.
That's some hot air. I don't think Shanahan's in any sort of trouble right now, man. That's not going to happen.
What makes you want Jim Harbaugh?
Did you see what he did for the 49ers?
Jim Harbaugh, no, we're not doing
it. He was terrible in Michigan for like 3-4 years before this past year.
Jim Harbaugh is also an organizational cancer, dude.
I want to win.
Nothing like his brother.
I want to win. Organizational cancer.
You think Jim Harbaugh comes here and makes us win? What about Jim Harbaugh you like so much? What makes you think he can make us win?
He's what Joe Judge wants to be. A hard ass who actually produces on Sundays. He's what Joe Judge wants to be.
Really?
Jim Harbaugh
know
is what
about
Joe
that.
Judge wants to be. Okay, a disciplinarian that gets results.
Okay,
When-
well,
What results has Michigan gotten against
That's
Ohio
what I was
State?
about to say.
Give
What
me his
results?
history over
I'm
there in San
talking the
Francisco.
49ers.
Give
His
me his
own-
Yeah,
history in
that
San
was great
Francisco.
almost 20 years ago.
that wasn't almost 20 years ago. That was 6 years ago.
Give me
This
his
guy-
history in San Francisco. Phil.
3 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl appearance. I'll take it. It's a better resume than Joe Judge, Pat Shermer, and McAdoo
combined.
combined.
Yeah,
You know what
I'll
I'm
give
saying?
you that.
Like, come on, like, get a veteran. You know who I like too? Jim Caldwell, the only person who actually won in Detroit, for crying out loud. He won with Peyton Manning. He won in Detroit. Give Jim Caldwell a chance.
You know who won a lot of
Who
games
was
in his
coach?
coaching career too, and he was a head coach of the year?
Who?
Jason Garrett.
Oh,
Yep.
stop it.
Hey,
He
yo,
was.
Justin. Hey, Justin,
He
check this
did.
out. How much better would the Giants be if they fired Judge and took Jason Garrett off play calling duties and made him the head
Don't
coach?
you say
You want
that.
to you want to know what? You want to know what? If Jason Garrett was the head coach of this, and no, so we were talking about positional value before. Quarterback, left tackle. You want to know what I put third in positions? I put offensive play caller third, and then I put like edge rusher and corner.
Yeah,
I
sure.
put edge rusher and corner like next. I think offensive play caller is the third most important thing on a football team. And if Jason Garrett was a head coach, and Jason Garrett had Kellen Moore as an offense coordinator, and Kellen Moore is a guy that hot commodity right now for head coach. He
I would
was a
take
guy
him.
that stayed
No.
from the Mike
No,
McCarthy.
I would. I
If
would take
Jason
Kellen Moore.
Garrett, maybe you don't have Patrick Graham, but if Jason Garrett's a head coach and he brings in an offensive play caller that does his own thing and prioritizes scoring points and prioritizes explosive plays, maybe the Giants are a better football team. And that is how
It's a big if.
that it is a huge if, and I would hate that. I don't want that, but I'm just saying this to showcase how important offensive play caller actually is.
I don't think we have the personnel to run Jason Garrett's system.
No,
The way that he needs
here's
to
the thing.
work.
Nobody has the personnel to run Jason Garrett's
Because it's
system
an
unless you have
outdated, stupid system.
unless you have 5 Hall of Famers on your starting lineup, unless you have Tony Romo, unless you have Jason Witten, unless you have a Tyrone Smith in his prime, unless you have a Des Bryant in his prime, unless you have
I mean, yeah, that's
unless you
why
have-
that's why
think-
Kellen Moore exists in the first place.
Well, I think for me, it's the idea of,
Yeah.
and this is a very broad statement. It's a bit of an overgeneralization, I grant you. I just think the NFL every goddamn day is getting more and more aggressive, and Jason Garrett is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And I think if you're gonna try and cut against the grain in the NFL, you better be real damn smart. And I don't think Jason Garrett has nearly the gifts upstairs to be cutting against the grain like that.
He doesn't. That's why.
Do you
old
think we
man
have the
Dallas-
offensive line to be
Jerry
that
Jones,
aggressive,
yeah.
though?
Hell no.
Jerry Jones put
Hell
them
no.
on play calling duty.
So
You
go ahead, Phil. I'm my bad, Phil. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm saying that's why Jerry Jones didn't let him call plays in Dallas. Think about
Correct.
it. The offensive coordinator is now the head coach. What offensive coordinator turned head coach don't call plays? Nah, Jerry Jones said, "Nah, Jason, we're not doing that no more."
Yeah,
Once again, that's
if
why
that's-
Kellen
if
Moore
that's true,
exists,
Fizz,
because Kellen Moore was, that's who
If
we
that's
guys put in
true,
there.
Fizz, I do believe that's true. I think Jason Garrett was Jerry Jones' boy. He put him at head coach
Yup.
because he knew he could control Jason Garrett, and they stripped him of his offensive play caller. So that means those systems to where they was going off wasn't his system. And
Yeah.
so we brought him here thinking, I think Jason Garrett has good ties with the Giants and the Cowboys, to be honest with you.
Yup.
And that's
And
the
I
problem
think-
is, yeah, sorry.
I think Joe Judge has been wanting to get rid of this guy, but
Yup.
I don't think he has the power to.
I
And
said,
I think
I know-
all the
you don't like to
speculation
go off
aside, though.
theoreticals, Justin, but you gotta have a hard time telling me that Mara doesn't have a whole lot to do with what's going on, because those mayors don't know football. His daddy had to
Wellington Mara.
control taken from him because George Allen had to come in. The league made him hire George Allen. And
Yeah,
that's
George
when he
Young,
hired
yeah.
Ernie, of course.
Yeah,
I don't
George.
think those mayors know anything about football. He got his son over scouting. I don't think he knows anything about scouting, and they're making.
And we were talking
decisions
about
hurting his team.
drafting. We were talking about drafting in the mid rounds and not hitting very, very early on. You kind of seen that quality go down as well since Chris Mara has been there for 10, 11 years now. I think.
Chris Maier's been in the organization since like the late 70s.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about as VP of football operations, whatever his title is right now.
Nobody's
Of
really
player
clear.
evaluation. Yeah.
And I
Nobody's
hate to
really
bring
clear
this
what he
up,
does.
But this
Yeah.
needs to
and-
be brought up since we're talking about John Mara. He traded Odell after giving him $90 million. Okay, y'all want to talk about Dave Gettleman. Now Dave Gettleman got to deal with what do we take a $17 million dead cap hit for that crap?
I mean, that's 1 year. So
And,
Or was it 20 million? It was something big. Oh, no,
and
total
the
amount
amount-
was 17. Weren't we
and
20
just-
million?
it was 20 million. But you gotta there's the backup fisc on that. You really think you could blame Dave Gettleman for trading Odell Beckham?
That's
you know how much
100% mirror.
Exactly. You know how much money that dude was bringing to the Giants organization during that
Yeah.
time? He was the only reason why you watched the New York Giants. He had us on like 5 primetime games in a year, and we were off like a 4-12 year. That dude was bringing in so much revenue. That was about
Yeah.
money. And he saw Saquon Barkley could probably do the same thing
He was
Odell
wrong.
Beckham was doing. So
And
that's
for
why
me-
I think Mara had a lot to do with that Saquon Barkley pick too. Because me personally, I think Gettleman would have took Quentin Nelson.
I just.
think-
Yeah,
Or
sorry,
Bradley
sorry.
Chubb.
Go ahead.
I keep
No, go
thinking
ahead,
you're
Nate.
done and you're just pausing. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, it's less about why these moves are getting made and who's pulling the strings in the background, and more just about the fact that it needs to get fixed. Because we're doing this dumbass crap. We're talking about Odell. Who cares whether it's Mara or Gettleman? We're trading him because we don't like the way he fits in the organization. Meanwhile, he's our entire offense. And that's just the philosophy we're adopting here. We're talking about whether it's Joe Judge, whether it's Jason Garrett, who's responsible for how conservative this offense is. Some people are saying Joe Judge is putting the harness on Jason Garrett and not letting him run wild with the offense and whatever. Some people are saying Jason Garrett just doesn't have the sack to go all in. For me, it's just about the fact that either way, we're so goddamn conservative, bordering on cowardly at times. And with all these things, all these organizational traits that we have, all these tendencies towards decision making and philosophy, it's just backwards. And either way, whether it starts at the top and goes on down, or whether it feeds back up and in some sort of backwards loop, whatever the problem is, it needs to stop. And that's just the bottom line.
And
Shout
that's
out
why
to
we need a
Tudo.
psychopath, the head coach named Horror.
Bro,
Jim
this
Harbaugh
entire
would get Dan
conversation
Jones killed,
came
bro.
up with the hypothetical that, if Joe Judge got released. We forgot that hypothetical. Real quick,
Yeah.
shout out to Tudo Zori for the $5 super chat.
I'll be right
He says
back. I gotta get a
worst-
charger for my
yeah.
computer here.
Worst move for any team would be to change head coach so often. It's like backpedaling. It would take at least 2 years to become average, which is another reason why I reiterated. Whole reason this conversation even started is we said if Joe Judge is gone. And shout out to Vibes for popping in. Vibes Eli Rax. I run the Twitter spaces with him. He's a very great Giants fan on Twitter, man. What's up?
Gentlemen, man, I'm gonna make this quick, man. Just what's going on? What's going on, y'all? Fisk,
What's
what's going
happening,
on,
man?
man? Good to hear from you guys, man. I'm enjoying every bit of this content. But the fact that we're pointing fingers at everyone and we don't know who to point fingers at shows you that this thing has to be blown up and restart again. Now, I don't know if you guys agree with that per se, but if we're blaming Joe Judge and then we're blaming Dave Gettleman, then it sounds like both of them need to be relieved of their duties at the end of this season. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't really know who. This is terrible coaching, terrible players that he drafted these past few. I mean, trust me, he hit on a few. Don't get me wrong, but at this point, we don't know who to blame, and that just shows you that this thing needs to be blown up and try again at this point. New GM, new coach. That's
I'll
just my
say-
opinion on it.
I'll say one thing to that. You're absolutely right, but you have to give these guys one more season. After
Oh,
this season, after next season, if it's the same exact thing, then you blow it up. But you have to break that mistake of you're gonna fire a head coach after every 2 seasons. No, you give Joe Judge one more season. You give him 3 years. And if they still look sorry after this season, then you blow it up because you can't really get rid of those guys after they brought you all that draft capital this past season. You have to let them see what they can do with this draft capital, especially if we go on a little bit of a run the second half of the season. You know nobody's not going anywhere.
Now,
And if
in
they
my
mess up that 3rd season, then you get rid of both of them.
I mean, in my opinion, I think they're gonna stay. But at the same time and token, if we're calling for heads, you gotta blow this thing up at this point. Because it's a shame. Because again, we don't know who to point the finger at, right? So
It's
we're all sitting
everybody.
here in these chats and we're all sitting here going over this Giants roster, and it's nowhere near to where who to blame at this point, right? We don't know who. We just say, all right, Dave Gettleman's in charge of the roster. It sucks, whatever the case is. We don't have enough depth on the offensive line. Then we're saying it's poor coaching as well on Joe Judge, especially with the timeouts, especially finally cutting people that he should have cut moons ago. Is he too conservative for play calling? Then blow it up. But at this point, every Giants fan is going to be pissed because I've been saying this from the beginning of the season. These guys are going to come back for the next year. And we're just going to have to grit our teeth and bear it at this point.
My simplest reason for having Judge back is it might sound stupid to y'all, but I'm like, we've seen what he's overachieved with a roster you shouldn't overachieve with, and now we're seeing him underachieve with a roster we all thought you shouldn't underachieve with. How do we know which one is the real one? Let's get a third year. It probably
But
sounds like the
Eli,
simplest
we have no choice.
reason, but like that's the reason why I'm like, I want a third year from him.
But
Nah,
that's why.
But then now you got to keep Dave Gettleman in order to get that third
that's
year.
what I'm
Keep
saying.
Gettleman.
You have to.
No.
You have no choice.
So Justin,
why
you're
do
in
you think
favor?
they're
Oh,
not
go
a
ahead.
package deal,
Oh,
Justin?
my bad. Hood.
Why do you think they're not a package deal?
I don't think they're a package deal because I do think John Mara is starting to trust Joe Judge more than himself.
Oh God, no.
And I think they're going to bring in an outsider, but it may be somebody related to Joe Judge, and it will kind of become.
No.
Well, I'm
No,
telling you,
no.
I think this is what they're going to do. It's not really an informed opinion, but it's what I really think they're going to do.
Basically.
No, but
An
Justin is
a very
1,000%
educated
right, though.
guess.
Justin is 1,000% right because there's a thing.
Yeah,
Justin's
unfortunately.
1,000% right because if you at that point you're giving the franchise a Judge, and all Judge knows is Patriot guys. That's it. He's gonna bring some bozo in from New England, and we're gonna be complaining that we can't draft corners, receivers, or offensive linemen. What the hell did they draft right in New England? Everybody on Belichick's team is a random who got cut from somebody else's team. When's the last time he picked somebody like, oh my goodness, what a great pick by Bill Belichick? It don't happen. These Patriot GMs are no good. Did you see what just happened with Patricia and them boys in Detroit? Like, no. Oh no. Y'all think Gettleman bad. Wait till you get a load of these Patriot guys picking D3 players in the second round. Wait till you get a load of that shit.
Shout out to Tudo for
And listen, it caught up to him too, right? Because New England Patriots isn't as good, especially last year. It wasn't really good. So now they're not good anyway. You know, so unless they sign a bunch of freaking people from free agency, that's the only way they're building a team at this point. But yeah, you're right, Fisk. Who they draft at this point? You're absolutely right.
In previous years, yeah, but I just want to put this out there before someone in chat does. The fact that the NFL allowed Bill Belichick to draft Christian Barmore is disgusting. That's going to be something we regret for a long time.
Shout out to Tudo for the $5 super chat. He says New York Giants problems start from the top. Moron Mara family members have taken all executive positions for personal income and have destroyed the New York Giants organization.
Yep.
I've been saying sell it to the Rock for a while.
To the Rock.
That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, we're forever stuck in this same loop over and over again as Giants fans. Like Eli says, just in these chats, in these streams, saying the same thing over and over again, which is the wide, massive separation between what should happen and what we want to happen and what we know inevitably will happen. And that's just what we've been talking about for what seems like forever now. And unfortunately, like Justin says, it seems like we're just going to have to grit our teeth and bear it.
I mean,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
I
but
hope
I
you
don't.
are.
I don't think I will be.
One more year with Gettleman and Judge. I'm telling you, they built that draft capital this past draft. You can't get rid of those guys, and they got you all that.
Let them finish the job. I agree.
Yeah, let them finish the job. Let's see what they do in the third year. Because,
and I like the
be honest with you, this team, if this team offensive line was half decent.
Oh yeah, I agree.
We're probably around a 6-3 team, 5-4.
No, we not, because idiots can't, like Slayton can't catch, or Dory Jackson can't catch, and Joe Judge can't manage time.
I understand.
Let me add on.
No, listen, I think the defense was Achilles' heel. It just started to click the past 3-4 weeks. So I can't say that an offensive line was actually going to keep us going to have us a better record. The defense was the one that was giving us an issue at the beginning of the year. So I don't know if I can agree with that.
Here's where I disagree with both of y'all. One thing we're forgetting is the stupid mistakes Giants players were making throughout
Yeah.
those first 6 weeks.
Complete lack of
we're
discipline.
two
Offside
offside penalties
penalties.
and an
Ridiculous.
interception away from being 6-3. If Adoree
Yeah,
Jackson picks
I
off,
mean-
if Adoree Jackson picks off Matt Ryan in the end zone, we win that game.
But here's what I'll say about the
If
here's what I'll
Lawrence
say
doesn't
about
go
the player
outside-
stuff.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about the player stuff. You did see a lot of situations where lack of going for it on fourth down, lack of prioritizing scoring points like in the Atlanta game. There were 2 fourth down decisions against Washington, which I thought, hey, that could have easily been a game where Jason Garrett's offense finally scores 30 points, right? The Dallas game last year in Dallas, the team did score 30 points, but you have to remember 7 points came from Kyler Fackrell getting a pick 6. So
Yeah.
still, we are how many games into the Joe Judge and Jason Garrett era, and the offense has not scored 30 points yet. I don't care what the offensive line looks like. You got to have one game where you score 30 points, right? So there are some situations early in the year where yes, player execution, penalties, things like that, bad luck, right? Bad luck has been a word that's been used a lot in the stream, but there are also a lot of situations where coaching, like not going for it on fourth down, not prioritizing scoring points and having that philosophy just flat out in general, that has costed this team points, opportunities, ways in which they could put more points on the board. Therefore, the margin of error every single game is so thin. It's so razor thin where we're relying on a perfect game from Daniel Jones basically week in and week out, where every turnover is the end of the world, and then we bring back 2019 talking points. Daniel Jones's turnovers have not been a problem since 2019, and then it brings up the draft day talking points. It brings back the 2019 talking points. So because there's such little margin for error and this offense does not score points, this team does not score points, because that's the case, every single big mistake that's made, it's amplified because there is no margin of error, because the coaches don't allow there to be margin of error in their philosophy and how they go about scoring points.
And I think this is something I know I've talked about with Kush on his streams. I think I might have mentioned this with Fisk at one point. The problem is that it's not one thing that we can point the finger at, really. It's been everything so far. Yeah. Except for the few games where we've managed to overcome it. It's not that you can say we're a couple of offsides and a dropped interception, because we're a couple of offsides, bunch of holding penalties, a bunch of drops, a bunch of bad reads from Daniel Jones, some fumbles, some turnovers, all sorts of other stuff away. We're discipline away. We're play calling away. We're offensive scheme away. We're aggression in defense away in a lot of situations. We're Patrick Graham allowing James Bradbury to be aggressive on Terry McLaurin and not play 10 yards off the line of scrimmage away. We're about a million things away from being a 6-3 team. And I think when you point the finger at one specific thing and you let a guy like Dexter Lawrence be a scapegoat, you let Adoree Jackson be a scapegoat for that dropped interception, I think at that point you're kind of just willfully ignoring all of the other things going wrong in a symphony of terrible. And at that point, you're sort of tricking yourself into letting this continue with the idea of just more chips in the pot, more chips in the pot. If we fix this thing, it'll be good. One more year. And at that point, I think if you want to say it has to be a clean break, I absolutely agree. But either it's this year and it's done, or you're firing them both after this year. So that's why I have that philosophy.
So one thing I would rebuttal on that.
Sure.
I'm not saying just because I said those three things, we will be a 6-3 team. Everything else is okay. Everybody sees that. We've done dumb stuff throughout every game, but that offsides penalty Dexter Lawrence caught, you do know that kicker missed a field goal. And
I know.
On the clock. So that would be a victory right there.
It also would have been a victory if that field goal wouldn't have been kicked at all, if Darius Slayton had caught the touchdown pass.
That's true, too. But that one's going to glare out to you because we won the game. It's just
after James Bradbury catches that interception, if the Giants aren't so conservative. By the way, when James Bradbury catches that interception, the Giants are behind. The Giants are behind in that game. They're not winning by 6. They're not winning by 3. They're behind in that game. And if they don't run on first and second down and then create a 3rd and long for Daniel Jones, then we're talking about, hey, this again, prioritizing 7 points. Joe Judge flat out said after the Kansas City game,
we're not going to prioritize scoring touchdowns. What does that mean?
So what he said is, you shoot yourself in the foot when you feel like you have to score every single time. You know, he said something like, you shoot yourself in the foot when you put that expectation that you have to score every single drive or every opportunity that you get it. And that quote right there, that was a serious quote. That's not just coach speak. That was a serious quote by Joe Judge saying, you know what, this is what I believe. I believe that, you know, if we play the field position battle, which, by the way, you can look on Football Outsiders, the Giants offense has the second to worst average starting field position in the game of football. The Giants defense, I believe their average starting field position on what they like allow, that's like ranked 20th in the National Football League. So Joe Judge values the field position game, yet his team is one of the worst in the National Football League at playing the field position game. You know, he values being, you know, he says we want to be aggressive. We want to punch in the mouth for 60 minutes, not going for it on fourth down. And when you have, especially in that Washington game, right, we talk about Dexter Lawrence. Okay, fine. You know, the Giants had the game in their hands after that James Bradbury interception. And they had 3 plays to basically get a first down, and then you can run more time off the clock. Washington calls all their timeouts, and then the game's over. Then the game is over if you get a first down. And they don't. They kick a field goal. They give it back to Washington with Taylor Heineke, and they go down, they march down the field, and they win the game.
And sorry, I know, Pat. Just before you say that, I just have one thing to build off that. What makes it even worse is that less than 2 minutes of game ago, Washington just scored in one play from like 80 yards away. Your defense is getting roasted by Terry McLaurin. Yep. You've been just absolutely destroyed on this exact conservative mentality all game long, and you're going to play for the field goal and play to let your defense end the game?
And throughout that game, Andrew Thomas, who was healthy, by the way, clamping down Chase Young. Throughout that game, Daniel Jones had one of the best games of his career. Saquon Barkley, the only thing that he had in that game was a 40-yard run. Besides that, he was averaging less than like 2 yards per carry. So the Giants felt comfortable in there taking the ball out of their quarterback's hands on first and second down, taking the ball out of their quarterback's hands when they still needed points to get a lead.
Quarterback who's been winning them the game.
Correct. A quarterback that was winning them the game. The coaches decided to take the ball out of his hands. They put the ball in his hands on a 3rd and long, an uncomfortable situation. And, you know, unfortunately, they came about a yard short on that situation. So that's one specific example where that is on the coaches and the lack of aggressiveness.
I'm about to head out. But I just wanted to say before I go, it was good chopping it up with y'all. Justin, I'd like to have you pull up one of my live streams, especially since we're on a bye week. I think it makes some good content.
Yeah, I need my invite, Phil.
I gotta watch that, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'll DM you. Are you on Twitter, Justin?
Of course I am on Twitter.
I gotta find you on Twitter. But
yeah, go ahead, find.
Use his name, man.
Real quick, I think everything we said is a moot point because we're gonna finish with 7 or 8 wins, and everybody's gonna keep the jobs. So
we're gonna make the playoffs. We're going 9-8.
That's a reach.
I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or not.
That's a reach, but I think serious. 7 is the floor. I think if we can steal one against Dallas or Tampa, then we can get the 8. But I think this Giants team, I complain about Joe Judge a lot, but the fact that his teams get better as the season wears on, that's a good
sign.
You know, we started off a little bad because we were cocky. Hold on. Oh, I thought I had to sneeze. But I think we were feeling ourselves a lot in the beginning of the season. I really do think the Giants believe their own hype. We signed a lot of players, Logan Ryan, all the guys, you know, they were talking like they did something. But if you notice, the more we lost, the more guys got upset. All of a sudden, it's like we're focused. And now we've been playing better. But, you know, at the end of the day, fellas, it's not that damn bad. We're going to finish with 7 or 8 wins. It's not that damn bad. We got 2 first-round picks. They're both going to be offensive linemen because we're not going to finish bad enough to get Thibodeau. We're going to get us a tackle. We're going to get us an interior lineman. We got Tony and Galladay. We got Saquon on a 5th-year option. We're getting rid of Ingram. Can we please have some optimism in this bitch? It's not that bad.
Yeah, we could be worse. Second half schedule is weak, so we've
been in worse. We had McAdoo in his fucking haircut for crying out loud. We've been in worse situations. We've been in worse spots.
The slick back.
You know what I'm saying? So
he's gonna pull up the image now.
Let's just be happy that life could be worse, man. We got 2 first-round picks. We have our franchise quarterback. We have
Franchise left tackle.
franchise left tackle. I mean, Xavier McKinney looks like he's going to be one of the best free safeties on the
Yeah.
planet for the next 10 years.
This kid is legit.
There's a lot of good stuff to be excited about with the Giants. We just complained for 2 hours, but damn, we're not the Lions. We're not the Texans. Okay, there's reasons to be optimistic. The Falcons and the Saints are trash. Okay, we could catch them. The Falcons are not going to finish above 500. The Saints, I love the Saints. Trevor Siemian throwing to Callaway, not going to get it done. There's hope. Okay, Giants fans, I want to, before I go eat my dinner, I want to leave on that note. There is hope. I know we made it sound real grim, complaining about everything under the sun for 2 hours, but damn it, there's a lot to be happy about the second half of this season, and that's the last thing I got to say.
Once again,
All
thank
right,
you,
Fisk.
Fisk, for
Good
calling
talking
in,
to you, bro.
guys. Go
Shout
over
out
there,
Fisk.
check him out. I'm over there whenever I got time. Usually I'm in school. Fisk knows what's up, man. Definitely go
Fisk-
over there, check him out,
Fisk is very optimistic. You know why they call me Vibes, Fisk? Because I'm the one that's optimistic about this team all the time. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to need some of that back over here, brother. I'm going to be honest with you. They're so inconsistent right now. I can't ride on that horse with you. But, hey, I feel you, man. I'm going to ride with you on this one. I appreciate you, Fisk.
Big picture thing.
We got to link up.
Got to think long term.
Absolutely.
Week to week, it's hard to find optimism week to week. But when you
Exactly.
just think long term, you can see it.
I got you. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, y'all
Peace
be
out,
safe.
Fisk.
We'll talk
All
soon.
right, see you, Fifth. I got
And
one
go-
question though.
Oh, wait, let me just get these super chats real quick. Shout out to Tudo for the $5 super chat. He says, you can move or change anyone in the New York Giants organization, whether Mara or the janitor, but you do not touch the head coach position who's developing and building the team. And then Ash Money for the $2 super chat. He says, we've been saying 1 more year since 2016. My response to you, Ash, is when have we actually given 1 more year since 2016? We've always given 2
Exactly.
years since 2016. And then let me get shout out to Miz in here.
What's up, guys?
Yes.
What's going on, guys?
But
I'm
go
going.
ahead, Pat. What were you
I
gonna
got
say?
one question to the panel. Well, 2. Do you think this organization believes in Daniel Jones?
Oh, it's so hard to tell.
And 2, do you believe Daniel Jones can be the future quarterback? And I ask this question because in any situation where it's winning time, when we had Eli Manning, didn't you have the confidence to know to feel that Eli Manning could go down there and get that job done? Like that Washington game. If Eli Manning is the quarterback after Bradbury picks it, you think we go in there and get a touchdown and end the game with Eli Manning?
No,
Honest
because the coaches refused to throw the ball on first and
No,
second down,
I'm
and
talking
they
about
left it.
Eli Manning's hands.
Eli Manning. If Eli Manning was on the field, that dude was a captain on the field. It wouldn't matter what the coach,
because
what
the
coach.
coaches would have run the ball and they would have left Eli Manning with 3rd and 7, and that's pretty tough to
Eli-
pick up.
Eli
when you know
Manning
that they're
would
gonna
have
throw the
audibled
ball.
out of that. Eli Manning would have audibled out of that. He
Oh,
had that
oh,
much power.
Well, here's my thing though. Like,
hypotheticals, we
right,
don't know.
and the problem here is we're talking about this, and we're 2 hours into the stream. I don't even care anymore. There's so much bullshit to sift through if we're gonna say, does the organization believe in Daniel Jones? All they say is talk up and down about how he's the guy, they believe in him, all this stuff. And then we have what we're seeing with this play calling. So do they believe in Daniel Jones? Do they think he could get it done if he had better line and his weapons weren't injured all the time? Would they be opening up the playbook and being more aggressive if the injuries weren't happening? Who the hell knows? The point is that they're not. And for me, I think if like you're asking, do we believe in Daniel Jones? Personally, I sure as hell do. I don't know if Daniel Jones has real, true supporters in the organization. Because let's be honest, he's not Joe Judge's guy. Dave Gettleman believes in Daniel Jones because Dave Gettleman has to believe in Daniel Jones. But whether you're saying that Joe Judge is taking over or that Wellington Mara is pulling the strings, it seems like no one really thinks that Dave Gettleman has the wheel anymore. So either way, it's impossible to tell if Joe Judge is lying out his ass or if Daniel Jones actually has real support.
I have a question.
And Justin, go ahead.
Tiz, how are you, my friend?
How are you, Justin? It's nice to meet you. I watch your videos. We've never spoken.
Do you correct me if I'm wrong? Have you left negative comments about me on Talking Giants before?
No, never.
Never. Okay. All right. I must have been.
No. And I watched the interview.
Yeah.
Watched an interview today, earlier this morning. or
Justin
earlier
was about to get ready to throw the most polite
No,
hands
I
ever,
was-
dude.
No, because frankly, if I don't run into people that don't like me. There are people that don't like me. There's
I
a
guess
lot of them.
I mask my
Okay,
hate for Justin really well.
No, but I would ask people, like, if you don't like me, then repeat those things and tell me why you don't like me to my face, and then we'll talk about it. But no, Tiz, I'm happy.
No.
I'm happy that you're
Listen,
here. And I'm-
Listen, man,
you
this-
ask all
this-
these guys on the panel. I come right at people if I got a problem with them.
Oh yes, he
Listen,
does.
man, this is too
Miz
tough
is not
for
a
me.
shy person.
Listen, man, this is too tough for me. I'm out. I'm gonna go to bed. It's great seeing you guys, Nate, Justin, Kush, everybody, man. I'll talk
Good
to y'all in a
having you,
minute.
man.
Y'all stay well.
Guys,
Peace,
have a
peace.
good one, man.
That was good to talk to you, man.
Peace,
You have
peace.
the
Same,
spaces
same.
on.
I just
Check it
wanted to
out.
give my view on things is that everybody probably knows I'm a big believer in keeping this regime together for one more year. I'm a big believer in stability, which is the Giants' history. And the teams that have no stability never win in this league, okay? The Jets, Detroit Lions, we could talk about those teams. Look at the Steelers, man. They tend to keep people together for like 20 years, okay? So I know Gettleman has rubbed people the wrong way. He's an arrogant person, but I believe he's done a hard job to try to flip the script on the mess he took over. And I also believe that you're not getting rid of Judge after a year and a half or 2 years like people think. And I'm also a big believer that if the Giants finish the second half strong, and I think they're about to embark on some type of winning streak here in the second half of the year, I believe that'll help a lot of people want to stick with the same crew for one more year. And that's how I feel. I want to stick with the same regime one more year. I know it's been one more year. Yes, I want to win more than anybody. But I feel that we are right there, man. We might be one draft and a couple of big guys in the trenches away from being a really good team.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, especially when you say we're maybe a couple of pieces away. I think a lot of that rides on the coaching staff being able to use those pieces, but definitely one of the things I've been harping on forever is that we need to, and I even talked about this earlier in the stream, we need to get an edge rusher that doesn't rely on scheme and doesn't rely on coverage sacks, because you have all these great defenses in the NFL, right? They all have great pass coverage, sure. We're talking about pass-happy league, and we're talking about how quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball quicker than ever. But every great defense in the league still has a really good pass rusher, with the exception of some Bill Belichick teams. And not every Bill Belichick defense is elite anymore. The Rams have always had Aaron Donald for as long as Sean McVay's been there. The Browns have Myles Garrett. All these teams that have really great defenses, and that's what we're talking about the Giants being, have an edge rusher that can get there by themselves.
Yeah, and the Patriots are back in I believe they're top 5 in defense. Now I like to look at DVOA, which is like it's basically looking at efficiency from Football Outsiders. So the Patriots are back.
It's dark magic, basically.
Yeah, the Patriots are
Okay,
back in the
got it.
top 5 this year. And they did sign Matthew Judon over the offseason, which they usually don't like to spend the big money on edge rushers, but they did go out and they signed him, and he's been balling for him.
How many sacks does he have this year?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I will find out in about
Judon?
10 seconds.
What,
Judon.
your human calculator
Judon.
brain doesn't just have that information stored, Justin?
No, Matt Judon has 9 sacks so far
Yeah,
this
I
year,
thought- I
16
thought he
QB.
had-
Wow.
No shot.
Nine
9
no
sacks?
That's
Julian's
crazy.
having a big time year,
Judon's
definitely.
having a huge year. Every time you
Marcus
see that
Golden
guy,
also
he's in
has
the
9
backfield.
sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah.
other thing is, like, every time I watch a Patriots games these days, like, I live, unfortunately, in Patriots territory, so they end up being broadcast to me constantly. This past weekend, I got the Pats game instead of the Giants game, so I was watching on NFL Bite. Anyway, though, anytime I'm watching a Patriots game, every time their defense goes out there, the color commentators are talking, and I keep hearing these names going, how did we allow Bill Belichick to assemble this defense? Why did we allow this to be a thing?
Yeah, Matthew Judon. I knew he was going to be good when they signed him. Matthew Judon fits them perfectly.
Yeah.
And then they got Barrymore out there. And don't sleep on those Patriots, man. The Bills just came off a horrible loss to the Giants. I think they're a game and a half behind the Bills, man.
Mac Jones been looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give them more.
You really got a cold there,
tonight, man.
Coach.
You got a cough tonight.
Yeah, you know, I usually wouldn't do it, but I'm doing it now because I'm not that well known in the draft community, and a lot of people do question my knowledge legitimately. And I don't watch film as heavy as most people do, but when I do, like I hit more often than not on players that I say are gonna be good. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Mac Jones was probably the second best quarterback in this draft, and he's looking like the best one so far.
Yeah.
Because Trevor Lawrence is having a tough year over there in Jacksonville.
And for me, the idea is that, like, I will admit to this. I will own up. I did not like Mac Jones at all coming out of the draft, in the sense that, like, when we were going into draft night, I did not think Mac Jones was anywhere higher than the 5th best quarterback available. I just didn't think so. And then Bill Belichick picked him.
Yeah,
and I was like, yep, all right. Because Mac Jones is the most Bill Belichick pick that could have been made in this draft. And he fits so perfectly. And you watch that preseason game, and you see Mac Jones being exactly what Bill Belichick needs, which is a guy that will run the offense, make accurate throws, not make back-breaking decisions, and when the time is right, throw a nice, accurate deep ball that spins up there and puts it in a place for his receiver to catch it. And Mac Jones is the Patriots' quarterback position.
Yeah.
There was two teams I was like, Jones
It was
is
a
going to be
perfect fit.
great on, and it was the Patriots and Washington. And as soon as he went to Patriots, I'm like, don't sleep on him, man. This man is going to be legit.
They're 5-4.
I don't know why. I feel like people.
Playoff door.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like people didn't like him because he was just like the flabby quarterback at Alabama. I'm gonna keep it real with you. And
I didn't
because
like him
he's
'cause-
not the flashy athlete that like quarterbacks coming out are now. I feel like
Flabby
that's part
people
of it.
need more love.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it wasn't necessarily that I didn't think he was flashy. For me, I looked at him and I said, all right, there's just nothing special about Mac Jones. And I looked at
So
the
there's
other
nothing
4
flashy.
quarterbacks, right? No, I don't mean flashy in the sense that he's not going to rip off an 80-yard run like Lamar Jackson. I just mean I looked at him and he didn't have great arm strength. He didn't have any sort of athleticism. His pocket movement was good, but not insane. Like, not enough in my eyes to completely make up for his lack of athleticism. And I looked at Mac Jones and I said, yeah, he could be something in the right system, and he could be a great game manager if you let him. And then the Patriots picked him, and I'm like, yep, okay, there you go. There it is.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but that's Tom Brady when he came out of college. Same thing.
Well, Tom Brady,
Exactly.
I will die on this hill, on this Tom Brady hill. Anytime someone says, how did Tom Brady slip that many rounds, I will scream and shout and stomp my feet that Tom Brady was not a good NFL prospect. He was not. Bill Belichick picked him where he should have been picked. You can make an argument that maybe 1 or 2 quarterbacks earlier, talk about the Brady 6, Tom Brady was not a good prospect. He had just barely won the starting job from a true freshman at Michigan. He was nothing special. I mean, look at the combine, man. There's no shot that anyone should have seen Tom Brady and seen the GOAT. It makes no sense.
How did we get to Mac Jones again? Let's get this back to the Giants.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I will say this, and then I'm
Junon.
gonna head out.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how
there
we
you
got
go.
to the page. I will say this, and then I'll probably head out. This defense got better because we put those 2 guys on the bench that's not bringing anything to the team as far as the defense, and that's Carter and Zimenez.
Yeah.
Carter got hurt. I said that was going to be a blessing in disguise, and they finally benched Zimenez. Roche and Ojulari, I have a lot of hope for those 2 guys going forward as our edge rushers going forward.
Big facts.
Not saying that we don't need to bring somebody in like a
I
veteran.
knew it was coming.
Hey, Hub, you need to get that checked out, bro.
There's
gotta
got
go
to be
to
a
the
pharmacy on your corner, man. Go get a test.
But I'm not saying that we might not need to bring a veteran in free agency, or we definitely need to get another edge rusher within the first 2 rounds because we got 3 picks within the top 33. I mean, not 33, but we'll have 3 picks within the top 43 somewhere through there. I'm not opposed to grabbing one in the 2nd round, but I think the 1st round with the emergence of those 2, we can go to offensive linemen in the 1st round.
Yeah.
Get you an interior lineman, preferably the center from Iowa, Lindenbaum,
Leonard Baum's
and
a
get
beast.
you and get you a right tackle if Matt Pert doesn't pan out at right tackle when Andrew Thomas comes back. I love the second half of the season because we get to evaluate some people fully healthy.
Mhm.
We get to evaluate Pert. We get to evaluate Hernandez. Let's see if those 2 could get some camaraderie.
Oh, you're not going to be able to evaluate Parrott. You know that, right?
Why?
Because Nate Solder's going to start.
Because they're going to start Nate Solder
You
once Andrew
need to
Thomas
start
comes back.
Matt Pert at right tackle. Nate,
And once
so-
again, it comes back. The
Pat,
shift
it goes
between
back
what
to the
should happen and what
conversation,
will
yeah.
happen.
Me
It goes back
right
to what we
now,
want to
I
happen and
haven't
what's going to
played-
happen.
I haven't played defensive tackle or defensive end since high school. Me right now could get pressure on the quarterback and Nate Solder's on the other side.
I'll do you one
This
better.
dude-
I have never played any sort of defensive line. I am 165 pounds. I could get pressure on Nate Solder.
Right. You're 165?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bro, this
okay.
dude is built like a
skinny.
kid, bro.
You must be tall.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. You got to start Matt Pert because you got to find out what you have in Matt Pert. Nate Solder's done. Nate
But
Solder,
like we're saying,
He
Pat, it
was
comes
done
back to what
2
you
years
want and
ago.
What's gonna
man, this
happen,
dude
man?
has literally been blocking people with his chest. He's not even getting punches on people.
He's been
He's
blocking
laying
people with his
hands on-
face.
Right. With his ass. He's been on the ground. Did you see the time? Was that Chris Jones from the Chiefs? Or
Oh
was
yeah.
that-
Oh yep.
or was that?
I know exactly the
Ford?
frame you're talking about right now.
He literally took one palm to his chest and just threw him like it was Reggie White.
Dude,
I was like, what the hell?
Nate Solder is not cooked. Nate Solder's overcooked. It's done. The Giants are just refusing to accept it at this point.
And yes, Miz, you're right. The refs got cheated last night. I do want the Bears to lose, but not like that. Those
Yeah, that's one of the biggest jobs I ever saw throughout the whole game.
They need to lose no matter. I will put in money of my own to ensure that the Chicago
Into the
Bears
bribery
lose.
pot.
I
Oh,
mean, how about we
Well,
ask our
we-
owner to put in money because like it seems like we got no calls. and
no,
he's not
I'll
putting
do
in money.
when
I'll
you
do it
got
myself.
referees hip checking players.
Justin, will you
Like,
start a
he literally
GoFundMe?
He hip checked that Bears.
Yeah, he gave him a bump.
Like
I mean,
if
he
would've
backed
turned-
it up into him.
Yeah. Now if he would have turned
Hey,
around and gave him a
yo.
right hook,
That was the joke.
if you would have turned around and gave that ref a right hook, he'd be in jail right now.
Yeah. And by the way, I think the best part of it was the ref bumped into him, and then like he threw the flag and held the finish like he had just shot a
Yeah.
3-pointer, and that was incredible.
Like that game was terrible.
I'm just saying. I remember saying it back on week 1 because one of my friends was telling it to me. He's like, the NFL made some type of gambling deal or something like that. Or
Yeah, I saw this.
it's not a coincidence that refereeing is going to take some type of shady turn when that's happened. So
Shady turn like it hasn't always sucked.
yeah, but
I
Pat,
mean,
thank
like,
you-
no one can tell me that refereeing has gotten worse since the Nickel Roby Coleman no call in the NFC Championship.
Oh, man.
No one can
Yeah.
tell me that anything that's happened since that is worse.
Yo, the league does it to themselves, man. They come up with this ridiculous taunting rule, and the refs don't know how to call it. So
John,
Well, they have
on
a
top of
quota.
all the new rules that they keep adding. So
No, it's the taunting is just like cops that are pulling people over for speeding in your hometown. They've got a quota that they have to hit. That's what the refs are getting their data sent into the league office, man.
yeah.
Pat, thank you for calling in, man. Have a good one, guys. Make sure you go over there and check out Big Pat Sports Talk, bro.
Need to see all you guys
Just-
come on to the channel, man.
Hey, good
Especially
luck.
you,
I got a
Nate.
question
You ain't
for
been on in a
Justin
minute.
since they do the O-line a lot. Justin and Bobby have a lot of shows on the O-line, and I brought it up today to Pat. I was talking to him on the phone. We always talk. I'm a little excited. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm excited about an opportunity of Isaiah Wilson now that he's taking some practice reps with the team. I think this guy, if his head is right, and they say he lost weight and got back into shape, I think he could be a big piece for the second half on this O-line.
And before Justin says his bit on this, this is just a throwaway thing. Alex in chat said the ref didn't throw a flag; he threw a terrible towel.
Yeah,
That's facts. That's some facts.
So the Isaiah Wilson thing is another one of those things that I have an informed opinion on.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Isaiah Wilson has a lot more work to do besides just losing weight. He has life things that he needs to clean up. So he's got to lose the weight. He's got to get more committed and get dedicated back to football. Not saying that he's not doing that with the Giants, but the expectation that he might do it this year is not
Is a
one
little
that
high.
Giants fans should have. Like
Yeah.
I would get that. I would
Yeah.
get that out of your brain. We get questions constantly left and right on Isaiah
Sure.
Wilson. And the reason why we avoid it is because it's just I wouldn't.
It's-
I flat out wouldn't expect it. I wouldn't expect to happen at all. Especially because if a new GM is going to come in here, then Isaiah Wilson's going to be a guy that's going to get cut the first day that he comes in. So,
And for me, just before we move on, I think my thing with Isaiah Wilson is that I am as big a believer in second chances as you'll find. I think it's important to have second chances in football and in life.
yes,
But for me, with Isaiah Wilson, it's not that he has problems, it's the specific problems he has. And for me, it's not the idea that he needs help, it's that he's been offered help numerous times and refused it. And it's sort of, I think, there was a quote, I think it was Will Smith or someone said, how do you expect to win the war against the world when you can't even win the war against yourself? And I think at that point, I'm perfectly fine with Isaiah Wilson being on the practice squad, getting reps, seeing if he can make something out of himself. Give him a chance, you know? But I don't have any expectations for him because I have a tough time seeing past that aspect of it.
With that being said, guys, it is 12, and I am going to cut it right here. I need to sleep. I'm sure all of you need to sleep as well. Go over, check
need
out
to
all
so
these wonderful
bad.
gentlemen's channels.
nonsense.
Of course, Justin Pennick from Talking
Sleep
Giants
is for the
and also-
mortals, says Justin Pennick.
Well, I'm immortal.
Okay.
So Justin with Talking Giants, and of course, the Big Blue History podcast that they have over there. What's the topic for this week?
So Bleeding Blue, it's an off-season show. So January 31st to the end of July, Nikki Snacks and I. It's not a Bobby Skinner
Snacks is with
Justin
you on
Pennick
that?
show. Yeah, so Snacks is with me on that.
I love
and
Snacks.
that's-
Fellow
I,
Knicks
I
fan.
love him. So we want to plan on the majority of our episodes being in person this off season. So
Nice.
it'll be a little bit more intimate. I have a lot of different ideas. So Talking Giants, during the regular season, it's 3 times a week. There's no need. Nobody wants to hear anything about the history of the Giants during the season. So Talking Giants, it goes to 2 days a week during the off season. But then Bleeding Blue will take the place on Mondays, where you would get a game reaction. Bleeding Blue will take the place of Talking Giants. So that's an off-season show that we put on. It's all on the same channel, all on the Talking Giants channel. So
But
this has been a lot of fun. I procrastinated writing down my offensive notes for the stats report video that I'm recording tomorrow. So this has been a lot
it's
of
good
fun.
to have a little procrastination.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Don't even say that, man. A little is too much for me.
and-
I'm the
and-
worst.
Kush, I will come on your channel anytime. I love you guys. I listen more, even though I don't leave comments all the time. I listen more than you think, especially to the young guns on Wednesday nights. But Nate, I peer pressured you to come on here because genuinely,
I wanted to, man.
I hope that I got to check in on your channel to see how much you post.
Haven't
but I
been
know-
in forever. It's been college applications and summer jobs
I know,
and stuff.
I know, and I've been there. I started, Hub knows, he's in college and he's starting something right now.
Yeah.
I started Bleeding Blue in 2018, and I was still in college. I
Nice.
was a sophomore in college when I started it. But you are one of the smartest football people that in general, like not even for, I'm not even going to say for your age and give that caveat. You are a very, very smart football mind, and you also have a great personality to go with it. And that's the thing where there's a lot of smart people, right? But to relate to people, to be funny, and to have that personality with it, you got it. So I want to encourage you to, keep at it, keep working. And, Hub, of course, anything that you need all the time, I talk to you guys, off camera whenever we finish. And same thing with you, Nate. Anything that you need, you let me know.
Sure.
Mhm.
Thanks, man. I mean, coming from Justin, that's incredible. I mean, it's 12:03. We're 3 minutes into the day, and my day is made. I appreciate that so much. I mean, the problem is, now that you've said all that nice stuff, I can't say nice stuff back because everyone knows who you are. Everyone
I
knows
don't need it.
Talking Giants is awesome.
I don't want it. I don't want it, and I appreciate it, but I don't want it. I don't need it. Hub wants to wrap this up, so let's do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, guys, check them all out. I do appreciate everybody calling in, being on here, and of course the viewers. It's not possible without you guys. You guys showed up in droves tonight. Love you all. That's it for now. We're out. Peace.